What did I do? Hey, welcome back to Life with Paulette. Today we are talking about not fighting it. Okay. And I know I'm not the only one, so that's why I always come on here so I can share, my struggles. Okay. Don't fight it. Okay. Your timing is not better than God's timing. And that's what I had to learn. For the last 2 weeks, I've been going through certain scenarios in life, and I just had to learn how to kick back, relax, and be very, very resilient when it comes to certain disappointments, certain frustrations, irritations. We must learn to stay calm, stay in our seats, and just adjust. Okay. So, like I was mentioning, my topic is don't fight it. Your timing is not better than God's timing, and learning how to wait well. Oh, my goodness. Guys, learning how to wait well for me is a struggle, okay? Because, like I mentioned to you guys last time, I'm so used to jump in ahead of the gun. I'm like, God, do you see that right over there? I want it, right? Like, why are you waiting so long to do it? You know what? Let me just put matters in my hand and just go and do it myself. So we normally likes to put the cart in front of the horse just because we think we can do it better, but we can't. So I'm just here to let you all know telling you guys what I've been going through so you don't do the same thing. And I know I'm not the only one that's been trying to put that horse behind the cart because if you feel that the cart can go faster than the horse or the cart can pull the horse, which is oxy, a little moronish. But at the end of the day, we all must develop that patience. And guys, today in Hawaii, it's very, very hot. So if you all see me glycerin and glowing, that is why. Okay. I have the fan right here and it's just blowing hot heat. And I don't know what else to do, but I just want you all to know the AC, everything is running and it's still hot. Maybe I'm going through a little something, something. All righty. So let's get right into it. I know, like I was mentioning at the beginning, don't fight it. And we tend to fight it. And you're going to know that you're going through that situation when everything is just getting on your nerves. You're moving out of your seat because God ain't going fast enough for you, and you want to get where you want to get, and you just feeling like everything else got to just move out of the side, and you jump out of your seat, you fell off the handle, jumping out of the gun, and not knowing specifically what you're doing, but then yet you're running ahead of everything. Okay, so maybe or maybe not, but for me, I know when I'm like jumping ahead of the gun, when irritation starts to step in, like you're running late for something and you're like, okay, I'm running late, everything is annoying to you, and it just so happened that you're going to have your little peanut gallery that's going to start wanting to call and update you on their scenario. Have you ever, and by the way, this is open to everybody else, so make sure you drop your comments in the bottom, because I know that I'm not the only one, that you're going through your own little struggle, and King Mucky Muck, and Queen Ducky Duck is always there to make sure that they distract you a little extra because they want you to know about their problems when you're struggling to deal with your own. So patience is very important to have and to pray for when we are going through certain struggles that is out of our reach, is out of our, control. And I want to read the definition of patience. And the definition of patience is bearing pain or trials calmly and without complaining. Guys, I'm going to read it one more time because it's so good. When you're going through that struggle, when you're going through those certain negative circumstances, we must learn to bear the pain and trials with calm. And why, you must say, well, Paulette, why would I want to bear it with calm? You see, God already knows what he has in store for you. And we're not going to tell him what we want. We're going to be here to do his will. So once I learned that portion, I'm like, okay, let me sit here and just learn to wait a little bit better because God's timing is always perfect. And I need to develop more patience so that I can get through my daily routine, my daily bread, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. Today we could be laughing, we could be enjoying life, and tomorrow we are not here. Or we could be on the phone with our loved ones, and tomorrow they're not here. And a lot of time too, our families may be going through a certain situation, and we are just trying to see how we can use ourselves to fix the problem instead of taking it to God. And most of us do that same thing where we always putting all the burden and the rocks in our boat instead of handing them off to the person that can carry it, which is to God. We want to carry it ourselves, and we get weighed down with life. Life just starts to kicking us, because we don't like to wait. We hate waiting. And I'm not talking for myself either. I know you all have the same thing. There's something that you all have on your wish list that you wish that you had it yesterday. There's something in your marriage that you just wish that if it could tweak a little bit better here or tweak a little better there, that it would definitely worked excellent. There's something, if you are in singlehood and you're wishing and wanting for that family, and all of a sudden it's not going fast enough for you. So the frustration, all of the irritations, the impatience will build up. And that is what the enemy, which is the devil, wants to happen. He does a good job at it too, making sure that we just get weary in well doing, and we just get all bent out of shape in life because we just feel that we'll never get what we're asking for. We throw tantrums like little kids. We just, let it get to us. But that is the devil's mechanism. That is what he wants. So today I want to practice more of sitting in my seat, staying there and learning extra patient, asking God to give me more patience so that I can deal with all the extra, life in that's going to go on, because life is not going to stop, guys. I don't care how much you wanted that new bicycle or those new pair of tennis shoes or that purse or that hat. I don't care how bad you want it. If it's not the right timing, you ain't getting it. Okay. So we just got to keep praying and waiting for it, learning to sit in our seat and ask God and let him do his will. Okay. Um, how's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. I was coming on at 11:30, and then I noticed, oh my gosh, the weathers are on. And I said, okay, I'm going to come on at this 12:30. And then everybody is on. I was like, you know what will be will be. I was patiently trying to wait until everybody, give everybody a little timing. But at this point in time, I said, I'm getting tired. I'm getting a little impatient. Pray for me because I need patience. So I just turn on and welcome for those that arrive, and welcome to those that is on their way here in the comments, or the ones that's going to come later and catch up on the video, because we're talking today in regards to patience and learning to wait well and know that we can't be fighting it, and let God do what God's got to do on his timing, not ours, because his timing is always better. Um, and patient, I want to let you all know that patient don't come very naturally, that we must work on it. Okay. And yes, I do have a few little tips here and there for you guys, so that way you all can probably go home and jot down or put into practice in the near future for you, that will help you because they help me. Um, Most of the time when we are asking for patient, we want everything. We are thinking that it's something that somebody's just going to hand to us. No, we got to work on it. We have to make sure that we're praying for patience. We got to ask God to give us more patience, that we be able to go through what we're going through and we can withstand it. Because remember, we are built for this. We are built for life. And okay, the problem is that the devil try to confuse us sometime and tell us that we can't do it, or we're not good enough, we ain't ready yet. We, put all that negative little thought process in our brains, and then we are sitting in the valley, just kicking and screaming and feeling like we ain't worth nothing, when in reality we worth everything because we are made in God's image, right? He made us so that we can withstand all of those temptations, all of the distractions. He is prepping us for his will for the future. So patience is definitely very important in each and every one of her lives. I wanted to share the story in regards to my son. I remember when he was born, it was like, oh my God, he's going to be a football player. You have all these dreams, you have all these goals, you have all these things that your kids are going to be and they're going to do when they grow up. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing as life starts to life that it starts to shift in a different angle. And you're sitting there and saying, but I thought we were going to have grandkids and you're going to have, I was like, I'm going to have grandkids. I'm going to have a daughter-in-law one day. And I'm looking around and sitting now today thinking back. And I'm like, oh, I guess that was not God's plans because, I have a special needs son. He'll be staying with me for the rest of his life. And all of a sudden I had to adapt and shift like resiliency into the new normal, which is I may not have a grandchild by my son. His last name may not be carried over. Like, now all these doubts starts to step in. But at the same time, that is what God is is prepping me for. So I must trust him because most of the time, too, when you're going through your scenario in life and you're having your questions and you're being honest with God and you're like, listen, I mean, my only son, you mean to say I'm not going to have a lineage? You mean to say that, you start being honest and you having your communications and you're connecting and saying, well, I wasn't expecting this. This was not what I wanted to have in my life. And God is like, well, I have other plans for you and your son. It's not your will, it's mine. And I am prepping you to withstand because you're going to be the one to um to share your journey and his journey to help somebody else. Our fruit is not for us. Our situation that we're going through, we develop wisdom so that we can share the fruits with somebody else that need it more than us. Have you ever seen like a fig tree or apple tree or any tree eating their own fruits? If you have, put a one in the comment because I haven't seen any. Okay, you have never seen any tree that turn around and eat their own fruits. Your fruits that you're bearing is not for you. Your fruit that you're bearing is for the people that's passing by. Okay, all you received during the process and the progress of life changes and development is the wisdom that you retain from it. Okay, and that was the hardest thing for me to learn because I was like, I don't want the wisdom. I want to eat the fruit. I mean, if I overcame it, can I eat a little bit? And he's like, no, you can't. You can't because the fruit is not for you. It's for the ones that's going to pass by. So I'm developing my fruit in order for me to share with others what I'm learning, how I'm growing, what tools am I using in order to grow in Christ and becoming her in Christ, guys, is not easy. Okay. It's not easy walking around every day in your nice little long skirt and your little long thing and trying to make it work with your little hat and your glasses. Without the earrings, it's not easy because we're already used to being in a certain way. And then when we have to change, it's sometimes throws that curveball. Okay. So moving on, I want to let you all know as well, when I mentioned that patience don't come naturally, we got to work on it. And you may say, how do I work on patience, Paulette? Well, you got to ask for it. If you don't ask for it, then listen, you got to put work into you. Probably need to read a little extra books. You probably need to, every time, you're feeling like you're falling off the cliff, following the devil, you got to take a breath. Okay, God, I'm not going to go there. Okay. When circumstance starts to hit you, you must learn to push through instead of fall off. Okay. Because circumstance is going to come in it. All right. So trusting God through everything that you're going through and learning to lead on him and allow him to guide you is where you're going to develop you. You're going to develop your strength. You're going to develop your growth process. When you trust in God, you focus on God. Whenever you start to fall off, example, you could be going through your own scenario, you're having your conversation with God, and then you turn around and you're saying, okay, I guess I will just pray a little bit more. The moment you sit down and start to calm down to go pray, ding, or you have tick, 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 you get an email, you're going to get a text, you're going to get you're going to get something, because the devil don't want you to be in peace. He want you to make sure that she's learning the easy way out. Let me distract her, and he's going to send you that distraction. Now, what I've learned, and I read a book a few years ago, and it talked about criticizing, condemning, and complaining, and how you can develop the right attitude. And once you feeling um down, and like you're feeling like, oh my gosh, that negative vibe that's coming on to you, instead of picking up the phone, you make sure you divert yourself to keep connected to God. You plug in, stay plugged in. So you make a habit of, whenever that trigger comes in, like, oh my gosh, I'm losing it, or somebody is calling you or texting you or trying to get a hold of you to drop all their negativity on you, those extra rocks, you have to figure out a way of how to adjust and go around it. So my example that I have, I'm the go-to person. So everybody will call, everybody's going to text me, everybody will try to, you know, get my okay or opinion on certain scenario. That's why I'm in the family. So if I'm going through my own thing, I only have enough strength to carry my rocks. I learned that I will ask them, all right, give me the topic. What are we talking about? If you're going to criticize, condemn, and complain, then I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready for that scenario now. So can we talk another day, or can I call you back? That's how I'm learning how to shift, because otherwise they don't know that they're dropping rocks in your bucket and you can't carry your own. They don't know that. So practicing, and it goes both ways, for the people that love to do all the calling and dropping rocks, and for the people that receive. So I'm going to give an example for the people that drop the rocks. Okay. If I'm going to call Billy Bob or Jeannie Mae, because I want to tell Jeannie Mae my situation or my problem, first I must consider, am I going to criticize, condemn, or complain? If you can respond one of those that you're going to do before you pick up the phone, then don't pick the phone up, guys. Because remember, we don't know the other person on the other side what they're going through. So it's good to ask, like, "Hey guys, can I drop a rock in your bucket?" That's a great way for you to ask. Can I drop a rock in your bucket ahead of time? And I can say, no, I can't handle it right now. I'm carrying my own. But we could talk probably tomorrow or the following day. Now, that's the person that want to drop the rock. Now, the receiver, what they have to learn, and I told you guys on the last video, they have to learn, to certain people, you're going to have to just stay mute. Now, there's another round for staying mute, because we become that water for the person that's used to calling, texting, that leaning on us, depending on us to feed them or to water them. So when you mute a person or an individual, what we do is we block off that water, so they are smothering because they don't have any other outlet. So I know, guys, it's tough, but sometimes we are built for this, and we got to understand that if sometimes that's how God have you, He chose you to be the go-to person. We can't fight it. We must sometimes just take it and read a little bit more. And you know what? You will learn that once you get into that scenario where you see the person calling or see the person texting, or you just know that they're dropping it on you and you already know what to do after, it helps you, the receiver, on how to continuously keep plugged in to the scripture or to positivity, and you helping you grow more. So you receive, but then you can grow as well. And then patience as well is part of that lesson, because we all know that when we're running out of patience, it's because the devil is distracting us to take our eyes off of the promises. So once that is happening, guys, you would know that you're moving out your seat, because the frustration come in, you have your irritations, you don't have no patience for nothing, everybody's on your nerves, and you tend to unplug yourself from the source that is giving you your light, that's allowing the attraction of others to come and try to see, to see what they need to see. So don't dim yourself. Don't unplug yourself. Do not mute yourself from the world, we must stay plugged in because we must learn how to develop that patience so we can withstand negativity and be able to successfully accomplish the task so we can move to the next task. And life is going to be life in things is not going to get easy. Things are going to continue to do what it do. The devil is always going to be trying to distracting you, but you have to start moving a little bit faster and smarter and more clever in your daily activities through life. I don't know if I'm helping anybody today with that, but I know that helped me whenever I'm losing patience or I need more patience, I know that the devil is knocking and I'm distracted and I need to pay attention. And when I need to pay attention, I either start praise and worship, helps a lot. I know that I replace negativity by my criticizing, condemning, and complaining. I replace that with edifying, inspiring, and encouraging. The more you encourage, the more you inspire, the more you edify others, the three negative C's, which is criticize, condemning, and complaining, has no room. You adulterate it. So every time that pops into your brains, those three negative things that you just want to spill out there to other folks, you start to inspire more. You start to encourage more. You start to compliment more, and that will help replace it. And this shift, even though the devil think he was winning, you learn the antidote. So that's works for me, guys. I'm not sure what tricks you have. Maybe you can share with me your tricks that you use when you're running out of patience and you just feel like God is moving too slow for you and all the negativity comes knocking at your door. How do you overcome your negativities? How do you overcome, your shortcomings, because mine soon is making sure that I can replace it with positive. And that is one way that I stay always smiling. I choose my attitude. I have to work on me. I choose to smile every day. I choose to speak positive. I make choices, positive choices. I hem and how to say it now, you who and ha on positive things instead of criticizing, condemning, and complaining. And that's what I've learned so far that helped me. And I pray that it will help you not to fight, but to learn how to use the anti three C's to help better your life progress. Um, let me see what else I want to say. Another thing is that the more we say we are in a group and we have a bunch of friends or brothers with their brothers, and you're going to know the one that criticize, condemn, and complain. And if you start to use more positive within your circle, every time you hear a negative, you replace it with a positive. What's going to happen is, you remember, misery loves company. So if misery loves company, every time that person speaks negative and you replace it with positive, they're going to start repeating what you are doing as well. It's contagious. Trust me, it's contagious. And eventually, guys, the chickens cannot fly with the eagles. So you'll start separating yourself. You're an eagle. You're not to be clucking with the chickens. Okay, you're not there. Okay, it's the peanut gallery. We're not built for that. We're built to go above the clouds. That's why when we're going through turmoils and temptations and tribulations and circumstances and situations, which is, negative is going on, you can withstand it because you've learned how to adjust the sail. So if you're down with the chickens, every time temptation comes, you're a part of it. Every time negativity comes, you're a part of it. Every time irritation comes, you're clucking with the chickens. You're not a chicken. You're an eagle. You're built to withstand all of that. And guess what? The eagles fly above the clouds. So if the eagles fly above the clouds, when temptation comes, they have us calm. and smooth sailing. And when when the misunderstanding or distraction comes, they can just curve around because they're above. So I had to learn that the more positive I get, all of the negative will eliminate themselves because you're not going to have them in the valley with you just speaking negative. Or if you're running away from alcohol and all of a sudden your little chickens that you hang around, they're a bunch of alcoholics, you're not getting away from that. Sooner or later you're going to be like, okay, let me just dip my tongue in there and grab a little bit, and all of a sudden you're caught up with all the chickens. You're plucking with the chickens, you're drinking with the chickens, and it can be any negative bad habits that you have. And then you all of a sudden you give up and the devil wins. So to make sure that you're ahead of him, you know who you are. You're not a chicken. Okay. Today I want you all to know you are not the chicken. When we're walking in holiness, we separate ourselves from the chicken. We're eagles. We fly above the negative. We fly above the situations that life is throwing at us. Remember, the devil, that's his job, is to keep us feeling like we're useless, like we ain't good enough, like we are lesser than the rock on the ground. That's how he wants us to feel. But we have to know who we are in Christ. We are not chickens. We are eagles. You got it? Okay. Now, how are we going to fly with the eagles? We're going to start adulterating all the negative and we're going to replace it with positive. The three negative C's, and we're going to put some positive in there. When you're hanging around, criticize, condemning, complaining in the peanut gallery, and you're getting to the point where you're overwhelmed, you're getting tired of all the negativity, you're going to start implementing inspiration, encouragement. You're going to start putting that in there. You're going to be inspired. You want to make sure that you edify the individual, because sometimes, guys, you don't know that you're an eagle until somebody tell you. The same with a chicken. They don't know that they're a chicken until somebody tell them they're a chicken. And you need to make sure you call the chickens out. So don't hang with the chickens. You want to hang with the eagles. But sometimes we can't get rid of the chickens. And the chicken is you grew up with that little chicken cub, your little friend so and so, Billy Bob over here, the other one over there. You grew up with that chicken. How can I separate from a chicken? I love the chicken. No, you're not a chicken though. You're an eagle. Okay? I don't know if I'm making this any clearer to you guys. Holiness, we're different. Yes, we're gonna wear our skirts. Yes, we're gonna wear the hat. Well, I I'm working on these glasses. I like these glasses because I can't wear earrings. So I have to replace my stuff with something else. So I have my color pop, my little purse pop. Yeah, I do. However, though, I'm no longer want to be a part of the little chicken coop. Okay. I want to fly with the eagle. So I have to separate myself. And separating myself gracefully is when I hear negativity, I'm going to replace it with a positivity because I'm seeing the person that's spilling it. They're eagles too, but they don't know because they hang around all the chickens all the time. So they don't know the difference. So that my topic is, don't fight it. Your timing is not better than God's timing. And let's all practice patience and let's develop and implement the right positivity in our lives, because we have been huckling a long time in the mess that we put ourselves in. Some of us done terrible decisions in our life that we are digging our way out, and hanging with the chickens is not helping us. We need to be able to fly above the clouds because that's how God built us for. We're built for it. We're built to go above there. So once you know who you are in Christ, you will be above that cloud and flying. So when they throw, hey, you want some alcohol? You could duck. Hey, you want a little bit of sniff? Duck. Hey, I got a little roach over here. You want a puff? Duck. Guess what? They're talking as sticking on the ground. They can't fly. So they can throw it at you, but you're soaring like the eagle. Oh, I love that. Okay, sorry. I had a moment, guys. Okay. I love that little chicken and that little eagle story. That was cool. Okay. So we're going to move above the clouds, know who you are, identify yourself, who you are. You separate yourself from people. You still love them, but then you're different. Okay. You're different. It's okay. It's nothing wrong being different because you know where you can handle. You can handle and withstand being above the clouds. Okay. And by the way, you also know when you are falling off because when you're falling off track with those distractions or the peanut gallery, and sometimes, like I mentioned, we tend to unplug ourselves and focus and on the negative portion. So you know that you're clucking with the chickens. Anytime every little thing is getting you irritated or getting you frustrated in life, or you just feel like, you know, life is life in and you want to give up, just know that that's you're plucking with the chicken. Okay. Because eagles don't even think like that. They think above. All right. So let's focus and think above. Don't let little distractions distract us from the greater good. Okay. Waiting well. Waiting well, guys, I'm gonna tell you, it's it's designed. That's the way God designed it to prune us, to make sure that we develop the hide of the rhinoceros and the mind of a scholar and the heart of a child. That's how we are being pruned on purpose. When I realized, I was like, ah, why am I going through this? And the other little thing I posted a few days ago, the reason why we have to go through those trials and tribulations is because that's God's way of keeping it. The enemy can't swim. I I was like, why am I going through all these situations, Lord? And he's like, I'm protecting you. The enemy can't swim. And if the enemy cannot swim, you're safe. And sometimes we go through trials and tribulations, and the only how we start doubting God's plan is because we pluck with the chickens too much. So we need to stop plucking with the chicken and start flying with the eagles above the clouds. Okay. And if we are fishes or in the water, we know the reason why we're going through certain situations, and it's because the enemy can't swim. So God is protecting us from that. All right. Let me see. The enemy main goal is to make you move ahead of God. And that was another thing that I was saying at the beginning. Anytime you feel like God ain't moving fast enough for you, you tend to move away and do it in your way. Then you already know, okay, something is definitely up here. The devil is in the midst of any confusion. And why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel negative? Why is anxiety attacking me? Why is depression kicking in? Why is because that's the way it was supposed to be. That's the way it's designed, so you could know when you're being under attack, and then how to get away from being attacked. The formula is there. It's designed to prone you, to strengthen you, so you could overcome it. And then we're going to move on to another trial and tribulations, because life is not done until God says his will is done and you're done. That's when life is done. But at the end of okay. But at the end of the day, we're doing God's will. And it's on his timing. And don't allow the devil to make you run ahead of him, because that you'll be out of your seat and out of place. Okay. We God, stay in your seat and be still. Thank you very much. Um, I want to leave with three things that I've learned how to, work on being patient, and I'm going to share them with you guys. Number one is to be honest. Be honest with God. Don't sit there and be honest with yourself. By the way, don't sit there and be like, I'm in holiness. I am the holiest of thou. I don't have no mistake. I have no complaint. Everything is perfectly done and said, and everybody else is not on my caliber, and I am that's not it. But be honest. There's things that silently that we know that we need to change, that we know that there are things that only you and God have those conversations. Be honest with him too, because he know what they are, but you need to make sure that you're communicating with him. So one of them is to be honest with God. Humble ourselves. humble ourselves, be honest, and surrender expectations. That is a big one. Surrendering expectation and trusting God and knowing that it's going to be on His timing. And the other one is take things daily. Daily, daily bread. This is our daily bread. Take things daily. Don't rush ahead of time and communicate with God, and He's going to guide us step by step on a daily basis. Don't take for granted every morning you get up and you can breathe that fresh air and say, whew. Make sure you remember to say, thank you, God, because many do not get the opportunity to say that or even breathe for the next day. So take things daily and know that you must enjoy your season. Wherever you're at right now in your life, enjoy your season. It's a temporary season, and you have to pass that season and you'll be in another season. All of our life is a cycle that we're going to continue to go in season, and everything that God need us or need to use us for, we're going to develop, and is designed to prune us and strengthen us in several areas of our life so we can be equipped and be able to withstand and remove ourselves from the chicken. Okay? I think that's it. I don't know. Yeah, that's it. The three is be honest and humble with God, surrender your expectations, trust God's timing, and enjoy your season. Enjoy it day by day. Enjoy where you're at. Be grateful for today. Don't take it for granted. Many don't make it. And that's about it. Let me make sure that I can go through the chats. Right now, I'm going to go and I'm going to greet you guys. Let's see who all is up in here. Let's send some shout outs. If you all have any questions, you all know what to do. All righty, let me see. Welcome. I see Sister Georgina is up in here. Thank you, Sister Georgina. Sister EFP. I'm seeing Sister EFP. Thank you so much. She says she loved my hat. Thank you. Actually, you're the one that sent the link, sis, and this is the color that I end up with. Thanks to EFP. I saw she had a blue hat and I liked the jean, and I ended up with my red hat. I like this. So thank you for sharing that, by the way. I appreciate it. Hello, Sister Roseanne. How are you doing today? Welcome. We have Sister Fleming says, at times, system says, go, but God says, wait. Delay can be agonizing, but the Lord Jesus has a bird eye view of His timing is always perfect. Yes, ma'am. Time to be patient can be learned. Hold on for blessings. Amen, Sister Flemings. That's right. Patience can be learned. Hello, Sister Dawn. How are you today? Yes, Sister Georgina says we need faith while waiting. We have Sister Roseanne up in here. Awesome job. Definitely. And I want to send a shout out to all the mods. Thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. You all already know that. I keep saying it. Sister Dawn, you're not a mod? Uh-oh. Okay, so see, I'm back to the same thing as yesterday. I don't know. I don't know how to do it here. I have to do it on my phone. I think because on this, it's not allowing me. I don't know what to click on StreamYard. StreamYard is crazy. Oh, sorry. I'll get you. I'll get you, sister. I'll get you. Let me see. Sister Dawn now completed for waiting process. She says, um, so okay, EFP is talking to someone there. Good, good, good. EFP says yes, down at LV went so quickly. Okay. And she says, huh? Not sure why you said huh, sis. Elvira. Okay, she's talking to Elvira. Okay. Okay. God is teaching. Fleming said, God is teaching us patience during our time in the waiting. Yep. In the waiting. That's why we got to be still and stay plugged in. Oh my God. That's the hardest thing, I think, to stay plugged in and into God and focusing on Him, regardless of what's craziness is going on around you. Most of us has a little situation of waiting. We have problems because I know I'll be the first one to jump out of the seat. Like, wait a minute, don't you see that scenario going on right there, Lord? Come on over here, you know. but that's how life is. Hello, Brother Jonah. Welcome, Sister Dini Cole. Hey, bless. Welcome, welcome. I see wonderful topic. Endor said, and peace and blessing family. Oh, thank you, Brother Endor. I appreciate it. Brother Endor, let me know when you want to start a topic. I know you wanted to talk in regards to um the modest fashion you were mentioning, but then you said you would change to another one. So if you need me to help assist you, just let me know. And Sister EFP was going to come on today. However, though, we rescheduled for a different timing, so I'll keep you all posted on when that is going to be. And we're going to talk in regards to fashion, modest fashion, and how to you know be in holiness and still dress with nice little fashion color, but still, following the rules and regulations. So I think that would be a great topic that she came up with. But yeah, Brother Jonah, peace and blessings to you. Okay, Sister Georgina, I agree. Stay and plug in, develop us as soldiers. It gives us courage while you wait. Amen. Yep, you got to stay plugged in. We can't unmute ourselves, I know it's so easy to unmute and to separate and all that, but that sometimes can hinder the plan. The plan is for you to withstand and not to just unmute, because then you're going to start over again. Okay, we don't want to start over. We want to keep going forward and allowing God to use us for his will. All right. Hi, Callie Boo. Greetings, Sister Paulette, and all that's in the chats. Welcome, Sister Callie. For all of you guys that's new to my channel, please make sure that before you leave, you're subscribed, that you hit the notification bell and give me a little like, because I'll be normally I come on here every Tuesday, every Thursday, and Sunday. We'll have a live where we're going to talk about something just to keep you guys inspired, encouraged, and make sure that you guys can be um can know who you are and how the walk is going to go. Probably give you guys a little motivation here and there. We talk about health, those juicing, how the juicing coming along. We talk about skincare, we talk about hair. We have a little bit of everything here on this channel, and I feel like you guys, you're missing out if you're not subscribed yet. Okay, so make sure you share. Send it to your brothers, sisters, your uncle, auntie, your mommy. You make sure to let know that Paulette, Life of Paulette is coming on and they need to check in. Okay. Thank you very much. But welcome, Sister Kylie. I appreciate you here. Brother Uso, hola, aloha. How are you, brother? Welcome. Oh man, I'm trying to catch up here. But Brother Endor says, I always learn to cut off negative thoughts, negative people, and create positive thoughts, surrounded by positive people for positive situations. Exactly. And it's not easy, Brother Endor, to develop that, because it's so easy to fall into negative, and it's harder to sustain in your thought, because you have more negativity out there. But if we start putting in positivity, it will adulterate it and positive win. If we have a glass, and you guys can try this at home, but if you have a glass with, probably there are, we did a sample where we dropped some dye in and it colored the water, and then we drop a few little drops of bleach. And the more, every time, for every two or three of the negative, we drop a little positive, and you all would see how that water would turn clear again, because you keep I think it was iodine. They use iodine and whatever, just to show the example of, even though you're in negativity, if you drop positive and you train your brains to do it, you will be surprised, because the other person will be like, I ain't telling them nothing that's so positive. I ain't telling them, they'll either move away from you, or they're going to join your positive bandwagon. And that's what we want to do. We want to always add something positive in there when negativity comes in. And sometimes our close loved ones are negative, and we have to either let them know, check them, I'm so glad I'm not a yes friend. I am not a yes friend. If you're looking for me to be a yes friend, I'm sorry. I've always been an honest friend. I'm honest. I love you dearly, but I am not yes, yes, yes. You will hear no's. Okay. But at the end of the day, some people are not used to that. Okay. But I am not every and everybody. And you shouldn't either. I don't want to be the yes friend. You can't pay me to be no yes friend because I'm not. It's like I'll throw a tantrum right there. Like, nope, not gonna happen. But I understand you gotta adulterate it with some positive. Absolutely. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Let's see. All right. If you guys have any questions, anybody want to come up here and listen, I'm gonna drop this link. Look at me doing things. Just in case somebody want to talk about, you know, their positive journey, they can. I'm gonna go through the comments. Let me see, Sister Dawn. Let me see. Doris putting his little eagle thing on. You better believe it. Rise above the negativity. Absolutely. You have to. Fleming says, stay determined while you wait. I don't, e.g., going to the house of God, praise God, etc. Paul, it helps us in the waiting process. Absolutely, absolutely. Praises also help. Um, Brother Endure say no chickens, no chicken heads. Yeah, you guys need to separate. Everybody must learn to separate themselves. Okay, you can't stay plucking. You got to be able to start soaring. Okay, plucking and soaring is two different things. Hello, brother TNT. Welcome, welcome. All right, Endorse say, I'ma start seeking negative people as chicken. You better, you better, you know, seeing, sorry, no, he's seeking negative people as chicken. Well, that's what they are. They're a bunch of little chicken. They're plucking. Have you ever noticed we back in the day, at my house, we had a farm, so we had chicken, we had all kind of animals on there. And at the end of the day, guys, the chickens early in the morning, they're angry and throwing tantrums, and that's all you hear. But then you could see the other birds that was freely flying, and their sound was probably one or two little pluck pluck here, and the chicken just always had so much to say. Like, come on, like hush, let's move on. Let's start flying above the clouds. Okay, so find your tribe, guys. I mean, it sounds mean, but once you practice to find your tribe and you soar instead of plucking, your life will be so much easier, so much easier. Okay, let's see. Greeting Tugs family, TNT. I'm just trying to get to the bottom here. Eating that negative barbecue indoor. Okay, eat that negative barbecue and turn it into BBQ. Okay, you got to come up and explain that, brother Enjoy. I don't know what that says. Eating the barbecue, we get it, sis. Okay, y'all get it. Yeah, I know that. That's good then. I'm glad that you get it. That's it. Eat that negative barbecue chicken and true into into a positive. Oh, I'm assuming you mean eat that negative barbecue chicken and turn it into a positive. I think that's what you're trying to say. Ah, see, I'm even learning what you're trying to say. Oh, awesome. Okay, Brother Jonah, I love your spirit. Oh, thank you, Brother Jonah. To God be the glory. I could tell you, to God be the glory. Smiling every day and waking up is all glory go to Him. I'm going to tell you. Okay, it's a choice. But yes, at the same time, He definitely is using me to keep shining, and may He keep shining within me so that I can shine my light. Because this spirit, let me tell you, it's a choice. You have to work on it. Okay, attitude. You got to work on those attitude. But all glory and honor goes to Him. It's not me. Okay, not me. It's all Him. But thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Amen. EFB said chicken. Yeah, there you go. Waiting well. That's the topic. Waiting well. Yes, Brother Endor. You must learn to wait well. And David B said, I give up. I can't it anymore. Just kidding. What do you mean you're giving up? Expound on that, Brother David. Go ahead. What you mean you're giving up? Huh? We don't give up over here. You got to push through. We push through. We don't give up. Okay. So may your brothers that's next to you, may they grab you by each hand and they pull you along because we're going to push you through. Nobody ain't giving up. Not on this watch. Not on holding this watch. Nobody's going to give up. We're going to pull you through. Okay. Um, Oh, thank you, brother. I love my brothers too. You guys are awesome. You definitely are big brothers, and we appreciate each and every one of you guys. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. There's lots of love over here in holiness. Definitely. We're learning each other, and that's what's important. When you're coming around and you're learning each other and you can see straight through and you could just see the purity, you could see the honesty. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Holiness is definitely beautiful. Is there hiccups? Yes, they are, because you're going to have a lot of people that still trying to pluck like chickens and not trying to soar with the eagles, but you have a lot of eagles in holiness. Okay, so that's the tribe that we're looking for, the eagles. We don't want to pluck anymore. Okay, we want to go above. There we go. Pluck with the chickens. David B, what does that mean? So plucking with the chicken is any negative situations that you may have, circumstances. You're going to have your little group of ex-friends, your little old group of buddies that you used to hang with, the negative tribe. You're going to, I call it the peanut gallery. That's all the negativity. Everybody that's criticizing, condemning, and complaining. That's the little hoopty station. They're chickens, okay? When when I said plucking with a chicken, that's because you're hanging around that group still and you have not separated yourself to find your eagle tribe, then that's where you're going to get him up a lot of times. So I just wanted to use that little phrase of the chicken because many of us, even today, it's we keep plucking with the chickens and we're not growing because the chicken has nothing to add to us. They only take away. Okay, they're only gonna pluck, they're only gonna throw tantrums, they're only gonna complain, they're gonna criticize, they're gonna condemn. That's their whole lifestyle. Okay, so that's why I use that term plucking with the chicken because they don't change. Okay, but the eagle does. So that's why our tribe in holiness is to find our eagle tribes and we are going to soar. We don't pluck, we soar above the clouds. So when negativity hit us, instead of complaining about it, we change source. We take it. I always do like a little analogy, try and make it easier. I just hope that you understood what I was trying to say. But that was the only difference, the separation of not hanging with chickens too much because we don't pluck anymore. We soar. Okay. All right. Let's see. Learning to wait. So Brother Endor says, learning to wait. Enemy main goal is to make you move from God. Yes, absolutely. Enemy main goal is to make you move from God because that is his main job. But and God allows us to go through it because that's what is designed for us to build character, to build up ourselves so that we could pass the test. So it's like both of them is working together in unison to make sure that we become the best that we could be. Oh, my goodness. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. We are be pruned. So the devil is helping prune us through it. God is loving it because we have to overcome. So you have to know how to separate sometime. You have to know how to shift, how to adjust, how to, be resilient at times, and be and when I say resilient, sometimes change may come up in our lives that, instead of staying there still plucking, we learn to soar through. Okay. That's the beauty of it. When you learn it, it don't even bother you anymore because you're soaring. So if one cloud is in front of you, you instead of going through the crowd, sometimes you can go around the cloud. It's fun when you can go through the cloud too, and know that it's not going to harm you. It was built for you to try and scare you away, but you're not scared because you're going through it, right? Okay, so that's what it is. So we got to learn to wait because the enemy's goal is to make you move away from God. That's his main plan. Once you know that, you ain't moving from your seat. You're going to be right there, right there. You're moving. Oh boy. Let me see. All right, let's see. Brother Endor, chicken being negativity as in plug those thoughts and people from around you. Yep, that's right. The chicken is negativity. I just made it like a little, I like to break it down like kids. So, if you can remove them, sometimes it's your own family. You're not going to get rid of your family because they're negative, but you got to grow and let them reach to you instead of you always plucking with them. You soar, they'll be like, oh my God, Brother Endure, it's about the clouds. I want to come up there. How do I get up there, Brother Endure? And Brother Endure is going to give them the sample. Okay, he's going to say, okay, if you want to come up here, you got to start adulterating all that negative with some positive. And then you can teach them a thing or two so they help them. Hi, brother in holiness. Give me one more second. I'm going to go through this and I'll bring you up, brother. Give me 2 seconds. I know you're in the back. Bear patience. Leaving with three things. Be honest. All right, brother Endure. Number one is to be honest. Oh, did you get the others? Oh, surrendering expectations, absolutely surrendering your expectation and trusting in God's timing. And what else? Let's see if you got the other one. Three, take things daily, takes things daily. Yes, there you go. Yeah, brother Endure got it. Okay, and actually a little extra would be enjoy the season that you're in. Don't look right or left at your brother or your sister and see them in their season and get jealous. Okay, you stay in your seat, enjoy your season that you are currently in. That too shall pass. It don't last. It's temporary. So stop betting out of shape. Okay, guys and girls, just stay in your seat. All right, wonderful. Okay, Sister Fleming say yes, Paulette. Wait and give us strength to soar like eagles. Absolutely, absolutely. And Brother Endor said, will do, sis. Absolutely, Callie. All right. You just give me some motivation to keep waiting. You best believe that, Sister EFP. You better. You better, baby. Just know that you better enjoy your season because it's just temporary, honey. You're going to get you, girl. Yes, yes. I know God will bless me one day. He sure will. All of you all, just enjoy the season. It's temporary, so enjoy it. Okay, Brother Drago, when you're ready to go live with me. Okay, Drago. All righty. We can't compromise. Well, otherwise, we won't have endurance while waiting. Yes. So we got to know how to prune, how to keep continuously knowing that when we're going through troubles and temptation and tribulation, that's just God's way of pruning us so we can withstand and we could build up and build character and build that tough skin so we can withstand the test of time. Oh, that was good. Yes, yes, yes. All right. I'm gonna go on live strike until you agree to join the panel. Okay, I guess that's Brother Uso. Hello, Sister Deco. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. All righty. Let me bring brother up. I'm gonna bring brother. Welcome, brother in holiness. How are you today?
Hey, how you doing, sister? How you doing?
Um,
I love your energy. I don't know. It's very
oh,
energetic, upbeat. It's a wonder. It's wonderful,
to God be the glory.
right?
Listen, it's not me, okay? It's the
Right?
God in me. It's not me. I ain't doing nothing. I'm just being Paulette, and I was blessed to wake up this morning. So of course I'm gonna be doing my backflips. I'm excited. God is good. God is
It-
good all the time.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Welcome to my panel. This is the first time I see you coming up here. I love it. I love it. Oh my
Right, right,
gosh.
right. I gotta come up and show the love anywhere.
That's that's
Anywhere the
right.
brothers and sisters are at, I gotta come show love.
Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you want to add to the topic of waiting well, and or anything that we talked about today, I mean, feel free, brother. Just go right ahead, and I'm gonna mute myself because I want to hear from a man's perspective. You know, waiting well. How does that look in your eyes? Because I told you guys from a girl's perspective, or at least one girl perspective, because I know sister Nicole have a different perspective. I just know my sister, she probably will come in from the back and go to the side. So I would love to hear from you guys' perspective about waiting well. What does that mean to you on your holiness walk, becoming you in Christ? How does that what I mean, like what I mean? Okay, what I mean, eh?
All right. Yeah. I could definitely say it's more so like patience, having that patience while you're going through it. I think that's something. It takes a lot just to maintain and stay where you're at. And you could be in a certain place, and you're like, you know what, I want better. I think I deserve better. I need better right now. But just being patient with the Lord and just letting Him maintain you in that season, and letting Him be able to build you up for whatever He's going to give you, where He's going to take you. So, I mean, I think, also, even surrounding like positive people, keeping people around you that encourage you, have good words to say about you. I mean, a real friend, a friend that will correct you when you're wrong, not one that's just gonna, say yes to everything. Like you said, no, no yes man or yes woman. Someone is going to say something, and be a true friend, a well friend indeed, one that really loves you. I mean, we all have negative people around us all the time. Like you said, brothers and sisters, it could be your own family members, but how you treat other people, I always look at it like it always comes back to you eventually. Like even if you have children, I don't know if you remember, sister, like back in the day when your parents, if you did something, your parents would find out, and then you might get beat by the whole neighborhood. The whole Everybody will come up, and it will trickle down. But I always remember someone always used to tell me that everything that you do, you're always standing on somebody else's shoulders. So they remember your great grandmother, and even the life that you live here today. People are going to remember the things that you did. And then when they see the ones that loved you or the ones that knew you, they're going to remember the things that you did in your life for them, and they will bless you because of the character and even walking in holiness and how you conduct yourself and how you show love to other people. They will remember those things, and that's definitely how you gain a friend, and you might even gain someone to come to Christ just because of your actions and how you prove. But yes, sister, I mean, I think that I just touched a little bit on it, but I think that's a really good way I can put it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, you hit it on the nail as well, and I'm glad that you were able to share from a male's perspective. A lot of things we have both sides. A woman is seeing one way, the guy sees it another way, and then sometimes it's good to have these type of conversation, because sometimes even as a spouse, you could be married and have the same scenario where one is going this way and the other going this way because they're not communicating well, or they don't know how, and they need a little extra guidance. But I
Okay.
really enjoy this. I
I,
really
I,
like
I
that.
did. Oh, my bad. I apologize. I did want to say something because you just said something that's like you're talking about from the male perspective. Like, sometimes for men, we're very assertive. You know what I mean? We have that natural ability to be very assertive in everything that we do. Yes, we can be very, we know the difference between talking to a sister or a mother and certain things like that. So it's a little bit different. But when we talk to brothers or other men, we taking off the gloves when we're talking to men, you know what I mean? So sometimes it can sound the way that we sound. It's not really that we're trying to come off as if we don't care, but it's like naturally men, we're gonna say what we need to say, if it needs to be said, but with that love, we're gonna treat you delicately, but at the same time, give the tough love whenever it needs to be. So, but I know for some sisters, they could be like, man, you know what? You could have said that a little bit softer or with more care. But I'm not saying that it can't be implemented, that type of love, but it's also innocent of man's nature to be more assertive and the way how he does it. But you also, like I said, men have to always think about, we deal with the women differently than we deal with the brothers completely. I hope that gave a good I can't hear you, sister.
I said, good point, good point. All right. That was awesome though. I mean, it's nothing wrong sometimes from, like, for instance, if a male and a female is having a conversation,
Yeah.
most of the time, well, we must pray for patience and understanding. But as a woman, if she is like trying to communicate with a man, remember, she's straight to the point. So a guy may not be able to handle the direct conversation because they feel a little certain way. So sometimes it's best to take a deep breath and listen, and then take into consideration what she is saying. And then before you respond, make sure you breathe like 10 times, and then that way repeat what she said and then see if that's the correct thing that she's saying. Because sometimes we women can get so emotional that we may be saying something and it's just out of emotion, because while we were talking, the husband probably blinked his eye and she is already in her emotional feeling, and she may take it to a different level when in reality she just feel like he's not hearing her or she's not hearing him. It goes both ways. So sometimes you got to take a step back, repeat what the person said and see if you got it right, and then go on and say what you have to say.
Oh yes.
So it's hard sometimes because you guys know you guys, and we as women, we are trying to understand you. We're on a daily basis, just how you on a daily basis trying to understand us. We're also trying to understand you. So what I've learned of 24 years of marriage in my relationship, that sometimes it's best
Oh
to
yeah.
stay mute. It's best
Sorry,
to
I had to
stay
do that.
mute. No worries. It's best to stay mute. It's best to plant the seed nicely and just stay mute and listen. And not all the time, I had to learn that not all the time I'm gonna get it right. And vice versa. And my husband had to learn that not all the time he was going to get it right, because maybe I had a point. So we had to learn to accept, listen, acknowledge each other, and then you plead your case. So if I didn't like the purple and he liked purple, just an example, and I would say, well, honey, I don't like the purple, and he would be like, I acknowledge you don't like the purple. However, can we do pink? Like, woman is funny, and then all of a sudden we don't want to fight anymore, so we just let them have their purple. As long as we're not getting that opposition, it's easy. But then when it comes to the male portion, when we asking for something, like, take into consideration that, please. And as a woman, I plant the seed, and it could take 5 years before I get what I asked for. But not that the guy is not listening, it's just that it's not the right timing right then. And we must understand that we have to wait well, learn to wait well, even in our marriage, even in our relationship. We have the same issue. It's a cycle of not being able to learn to wait well and try to run ahead. And that can hinder us in the long future. So, oh, did I went on a tangent? I think I went
No,
off, didn't
no.
I, brother?
Oh no. No, I mean, it was well put.
Definitely, definitely. Hi, brother Endure. Welcome, welcome. How are you today?
Greetings, greetings, sis. I heard 24 years. I was like, woo woo. So I had to
Yes,
put that out there.
yep.
God, that's amazing. That's amazing to hear. Analyzing the situation, you know, that's a great quality. I would say my wife has sometimes. Um, she will go quiet. She doesn't necessarily respond, like
Mm-hmm.
direct, where like most men, we're used to getting things done right then and there. You're like, all right, what's the issue? Here's the solution. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get it done. Or where for my wife, it's, it's not that quick. So I have to be, you know, I have to more be strategic with what I'm saying, and give it more time, and not expect everything to just happen like right then and there, compared to when my wife speaks and talks and says something that she wants to get done. So, and knowing how to respond, when to respond, and I love the way you said it, letting that person know that you understand what they're saying. Like, you literally, it's like, I understand exactly what you're saying, and maybe we should do this way. But some people are used to solving their issues on their own, like going into a relationship, that, and they don't know that, sometimes they don't know that they can go into a problem solving issue with a solution, already solve the problem, but there's still another person in that problem that hasn't gotten the chance to come to that problem solution method. But yeah, but yeah, 24 years of marriage, that's a wonderful thing. It's a blessing, and it's work. Marriage is work. Relationships is work. But through time and patience and understanding each other, it becomes much easier, like that walk, it becomes one walk, and not, it's just two different people. We're going down one path, one vision, one mind, even though we're two different beings, we're still one. But oh yeah, but amazing topic today. I loved it. I was enjoying the chicken heads part. The chickens. I was trying to I was trying to explain to you, because me and brother Drago was talking about. He's like, man, I don't know. I love chicken though, like especially barbecue chicken. So I was trying to break it down to him. I'm like, yeah. So you take that negative barbecue chicken and you turn it into a positive, because eagles eat chicken. I'm like, but we were just joking around in the chat. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
You were like, what?
Got
What am I reading?
Yeah, at first I was like, what did he's probably talking to somebody. And when you're trying to do the live and run through the notes, and I was like, what it is saying? But I'm trying to keep a good face. I'm like, what is Brother Endure doing? Why don't you just come up and explain yourself? Because I
Ah,
definitely don't,
that's why
I
I
didn't
came
get it
in. I had to
then.
clear it up. I had to clear it up, sis. See?
I'm glad you cleared that up, brother. And I'm glad that you guys are sharing. And I hope you guys, I know one of you guys are married and the other one is still single. And I'm
Yes.
glad that you guys are sharing, patience and from your perspective and sharing how to wait well without,
Hmm.
especially from being married and then one that's not.
Yeah.
There's different angle. And at the same time, what's the sad part about it? Is that we still the same female. Even if you're married or you're single, you're gonna get the
Still the
same
same.
thing.
Yeah. It's still the same. That person
It's
still
still the
got
same.
we still
So
got work to do on our own. It's still the
yes, we
same.
have we got work to do. But I see a few months ago, my neighbor, they've been married for like, whew, they're 88, and the other one is like 85.
Wow.
And I said, what's the secret? I told the little old man, I said, sir, I said, what? I said, tell me the secret. How does work so long? And then he jumped in and he said, well, I could tell you from my perspective. He said, all I say is yes, dear. Yes, dear.
Oh
And he
man.
said that I don't have no trouble because I make sure that I acknowledge what she's saying and I say yes,
Uh,
dear. And then she said, but you still don't do what I say. He said, but in that moment of peace, when I say yes, dear, I love me to go and do what I want because I'm going to do what I want anyway. But it was just so funny to see an 88-year-old and an 85 still have their little lovely tussle. And he could have said, all I say is yes, there. And then she could jump off and say, but you still end up doing what you want. And he said, but I do say yes, there. Like to say, well, I do make sure that you were considered.
yes. I'm listening.
Uh, yeah, you're
Yes.
listening, and it goes both ways too. I feel like even as a wife, listening is important. And for a husband, it's the same thing. So when it boils all down, it's all communications. Once you acknowledge, you stop, acknowledge, you analyze, and then, you take action, you
Mm-hmm.
nobody will have any issues because the other person won't feel like you're like that you push him or her away. She or him will feel like you're acknowledging what they're saying, you're taking into consideration, and that helps the couple to be stronger because you're like, okay, he got it now. I don't got to tell him how to mash potatoes. He know he got to put the butter. He know he got to boil it a certain way, and
Mhm.
he got it. But then in that moment in time, us women sometimes can be in that teaching mood because we think that you need a little help, and the
Mm.
guy is probably like, I don't. I got it. I know what I'm doing, and we're still trying to treat you guys like a little toddler, like, okay, you got to move
Louis,
your right foot, move the
say it
left foot.
again. Say it a
Listen,
little bit
listen,
louder, sis.
listen, I'm making, I got to be honest, and I got to make sure that it goes both ways, okay? But we do tend
Mm.
to be the mama, and we want to tell you how to do it, and not knowing that you already analyzed that like 200 times on how you're going to do it. And we're coming in there because you're not verbally saying it to us. We're thinking, you don't get it. You don't have it yet. I know he ain't going to drop that butter. Boom, you drop the butter. You add all that in there. And they're like, oh, okay. But, it takes time and communication for us to develop, and from both angles to develop that type of trust where, okay, he can make a nice potato salad and I don't got to be hovering over him while he makes it, and vice versa. She know how she's doing with, those ham hocks and that collard greens. I don't have to go in there and say that, oh, you don't do it. My mama don't do it like that. You know you're
Oh,
gonna be falling for a divorce. You go in there, but
oh
your mom
no.
don't do it like that.
Oh no. That's a big no no.
The man really messed up.
Well, my mama don't do that. Like mama did it
Yeah,
better.
that's like you trying to shoot
Oh
your
no.
own self. Don't
Right,
shoot your own self,
right. She's like,
But
hey,
She's
did you
like, why
put that
don't you
salt
go
in the
back
pot?
to your mama house then?
Did you put the salt in the pot yet? You know you ain't put that salt in the pot. You like, oh
I
man.
know, right? And my mama always have like 2 or 3 cups of sauce under that
Oh
so and so,
no.
and the juice, it's too dry. It's too dry. And my
Oh
mama, oh my
no.
God, you're about to ruin your whole
You
relationship.
about
You
to
keep putting mama up in there. But it's the reality of things. I always wanted to make sure in my channel that we keep it real here.
yeah.
It's reality. That's life. We're not perfect. Don't sit there and, oh my God, everything is hunky dory. No, we go through stuff. We grow together, and
Hmm.
I always keep saying, as a married woman, I complete my husband, and he completes me. We're not
Yeah.
competing and going in competition. There's no competition in our household. So once that is taken care of, we already know where each other stand. He's the head, and I'm right here. I'm like, okay, boy, you got
Yeah.
it. I trust you. And then I do my extra prayer that, Lord, please,
Hey,
please make him stay focused. Lord, help him. We do
Right?
our woman's
Yeah.
prayer. You know how y'all don't know all that, but we be going on our knees real quick. As soon as y'all be like, I got it, baby. Like, yeah, you got it. Two
You gotta
seconds
get
later,
some
I'm like,
prayer for
Lord,
this, man.
please,
Lord,
please
Lord,
help him.
Lord, help him change the
Hello.
light bulb right.
You know,
Keep up there.
but that's the reality thing. And I know you guys be the same way. Like, oh my God, she said she's gonna make dinner. It's not like my mother's dinner.
Oh no.
It goes both ways. You all have your little question marks as well. So,
But
but
I'll
one
say
thing.
this. Oh,
Mhm.
sorry, sis. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, I just wanted to add on, like, even in a relationship or any type of relationship, when once you acknowledge, and sometimes we could be wrong as two left foot, and vice versa. I always learn, I've learned that you apologize. And that's where my 5 sentence comes in. In a relationship, we don't go to bed angry. Before the sun go down, we gonna figure
Amen.
it out. Somebody
Amen.
got to go to the next person, and it's always going to be, you make sure before the sun go down, whatever quarrel you have, because you don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. That was
Right.
that was taught from my grandmother, years ago before we even had a husband. She's like, sometimes, some days you're gonna be like, ooh, you could don't wake up, brother.
Yeah.
She was a part of holiness, okay? She's like,
Yeah.
ooh, he gets me so upset. Like, she didn't tell us it was like mainly to say, like, you guys can get under a skin sometime that, for brief 2 seconds that I mean, just take his battery out for 2 seconds and bring him back. You'll be all right, But she always say, you apologize. And I'll say, well, Grandma, why would I have to apologize? I didn't do nothing. He didn't listen or whatever. And she's like, no, 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 no. She said, you go through your 5 C's and there's 5 sentences. You say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And would you, well, normally I would tell, if I do something, I would tell my husband, will you marry me again? But
uh,
you add in the questions and you say, please forgive me. I love you. Um, I forgot my 5 C's. Georgina, did you remember my 5 C's that I quoted last time? And the whole point was, you let them make sure that you make up before you go to bed, because that's what the devil wants. He wants you to be indifferent. He wants you to be separated. So when situations happen and you're going 2, 3 days, that's too long. And he's having a field day. He's like, yeah, keep them distance, get them all upset, get in their heads. And then all of a sudden you realize that this makes no sense. Why was I upset that he didn't put the socks in the trash can, or didn't take the trash out when I told him to take it out? He took it out and the last piece of dirt went into it. Like, it's so silly sometimes, and we have to
um,
learn to meet each other halfway. And
amen.
that's the goal of this, meeting each other halfway and learning that even though it may not be your fault sometimes, stay humble. I would say I'm sorry, even if I don't know why I'm saying sorry, even though in the back of my head, I'm like, I know I was right. But you know what? You say you're sorry, guess what she's going to say or he's going to say? I'm sorry back. Because they
Amen.
also knew they went out, they fell off of the wagon, So,
Yeah.
anyway, I just needed to get that. I don't know why I wanted to get that out. I
No,
just thought
no,
that was fun.
it's part of the topic because
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
apologizing.
yeah, I was gonna say this, like my wife being pregnant, she's very emotional, and sometimes she'll do things that, when she wasn't pregnant, it would never come out of her. But now that she's pregnant, sometimes all the emotions, it can be a lot. So like from time to time I'm like, babe, you didn't say things like this before. And I had to learn, like, because how I treat her in this delicate stage, and the things that I do for her, and my responses, even though it might seem foolish because I know that she knows already, but it might feel
Mhm,
foolish to me, but to
mhm.
her it can be a huge thing, even though it's not a huge thing, in my eyes. So me
Yeah.
learning to know that, let her know that she's, validated, that I'm listening to her. And even though I feel like it's like, I'm like, why are we even talking about this? You bringing up something that happened like a year ago. Like, I'm like, what's going on? Like, you brought this up a year ago. But at the same time, I have to realize that she's vulnerable in an
Yes.
emotional state. And when she's done with her pregnancy, the baby's here, she's gonna
Mhm.
think back on how I treated her during
Yeah.
her vulnerable state when she was
Mhm.
going through all of those emotions at the time, and
Yeah.
how I responded, just like the same way, a husband, like when you get sick, be careful how you treat your wife. And if you was treating her like trash or whatever, you're talking down on her, she's gonna remember it when you're down and you're weak. You're not as strong as you used to be, and you're like,
Hmm.
man,
Hold on.
not that she's gonna do that, like a
You're like, oh, sorry,
not,
honey, fell out the chair.
yeah, not that, not that she's gonna like try to have some personal vendetta, but she's gonna remember how you treated her. She
Yeah.
really is. So me,
Absolutely.
me as a man, I can't just go off of my feelings. I have to think about her and her being vulnerable at that, in whatever state she is, and treat her with love and compassion, have grace and mercy, And it's not easy as it sounds, but it's something that must be done because that's real love. That's the unconditional love that the Father gave us. So how I treat her is how my daughters are gonna see that I treat her, and how my daughters are gonna be raised up, and they're gonna say, when I look for a husband, this is what I'm looking for of how my dad treated my mom. So if whatever you do, that's the seeds that you're planting into your wife, is what you're planting into your kids, and what you're planting into your house, and such and such and such. But I just had to share that topic with what you said, and it's good to wait. Patience is a virtue. It's a and like you said, I love a woman that goes on her knees and she will go and pray. That's something that a lot of men don't see, that their wives is like one of the most powerful things is you having a prayerful wife. Because when you drove to work one day, you woke up, you didn't even say anything to God, you just went on your way, and boom, something happens on the road. You didn't know your wife was praying for you before you left, and God heard her prayer, and why he helped to protect you in those certain situations. And yes, sometimes a woman, she can be, I wouldn't say overbearing, but she has a nurturing thing about her, and which is a wonderful thing. And a lot of guys don't see that's a loving thing, that a woman that
Yes.
is very nurturing. She cares about if you ate,
Yes.
did you sleep long enough, how was work, she's
Mhm.
washing your clothes, and she's doing all those things because she loves you. And a lot of men will be like, yo, why are you down my back for? I said I can wash the dishes. But those are the things that you saw in her when you married her. And you're like, man, this is someone that I can be with the rest of my life, that's going to help, nurture my kids and take care of them. So, I don't think those things are bad qualities, but maybe it's an ego thing for most men. When they hear a woman is like, yo, did you drop the butter in the pot like I told you to? You knowing well that last time you did it, you didn't drop the butter in, but this time you're like, don't get off my back. I told you I'm going to drop the butter, So, everyone's not right. And it's not about right or wrong. It's about finding that space where you both can operate, and not step it's not about stepping on each other's toes, or who can do it better, and comparing like a measuring stick. And I think that's what most people have an issue with. They want to measure who is the best, who is the greatest, who can do it better. But yeah, but I felt like I wanted to share that.
Oh
Nothing,
yes. Oh yeah.
Oh
nothing
yeah.
wrong.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh,
I'm loving this. This is awesome. Sister
Oh yeah.
Nicole, where are you at? You need to come up here so we can
right.
have two and
Right.
two.
Right.
Because it's one against two, okay? But
Right. Right.
one thing I wanted to go ahead, brother Endure, not brother Endure, be in holiness.
Brother
Go ahead.
holiness.
Brother in
Yeah.
holiness, yes.
It's all good. No, also, it's finding your strong suits as well too, knowing where your strengths at, where your weaknesses at as well. Like, like I heard, if she's better at money with you than you should give that to her. Let her do that. Let her take over the finances. Don't feel like you gotta, the money gotta come through my hands. I gotta see every dime you checking the account every 5 seconds. No, she's well versed at money. If you want to be successful in your marriage, let her hold that completely. Or if you do something better than her, or when it comes to the kids, like maybe sometimes, no matter what you do, your children are always going to think one is harder than the other, no matter what you do. Mommy could be as feminine as she wants to be, but maybe because how they get chastised, they might be like, I'm not going to go to mommy. So everybody, you got to know where your strong suits and how to go at the children at which time, what topic is better to come from mom versus which topic is the better to come from dad. So I think some people have to understand like where you, because it's like you have to have that union together and know where the order is for each other, so okay, we're building up a house, and the house has to be built with structure, and it has to continue to fulfill and get better. Oh yeah. So I mean, I could definitely say that it's really about you. You got to put your ego down. You got to put that ego down. And
Oh
like
yeah.
you said earlier, be humble. Be
Yep.
humble. Don't, like if he's better at something and he says
Let
something,
him be.
you be like, okay, all right, you got
Yep.
it. Maybe
Absolutely.
she might like a better thing to use for the laundry,
Hmm.
and you you want to go buy something else. Just be like, all
Yep.
right, go ahead, you can have that,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that's it. Leave it alone.
That's right. That is so true. I mean, you hit two things that I'm going to go and expound on because when it comes to money, a lot of times, with finances, like you mentioned, if she's good at that, then you let her have it. In a relationship with a husband and a wife, there's certain things you sit down and you be like, okay, you're stronger here, I'm stronger here. And you figure out how you're going to work your household and love each other to complete each other in certain areas or meet each other halfway. When I got married, I had a whole bunch of stuff, shoes and
Oh
clothes.
boy.
And my husband was totally opposite of me. So he
Okay.
had his brown shoe, his black shoe, his military shoes, and tennis shoes for PT. He had about, say, four shoes. He had a black pants, a brown pants, a jean pants, and a khaki pants. And then when it came down, when we got married, we got to merge. And here I am with a whole like wardrobe, like 2 to 3 wardrobe compared to what he had. I had to learn to meet halfway, and we had to downsize. I'm sorry. He's like,
Yeah.
"Why you got all these color shoes?" I have like 20 something pairs of shoes to his four, and we're just recently married. You have to learn to I had to figure out like, well, I want all my shoes. Each one of my shoes is a certain color, and each color is matching my certain suit that I have. And it was that was my thought process. And his was like, hey, we're trying to be a union as one. And is it possible that we can downsize a little bit and then eventually you can, build your little wardrobe back up in the near future? And at first I was like, okay, I had to consider it. Not that I wanted to, but he didn't say, you can't do this. The moment you guys tell us we can't, ah, forget it. Wrong answer. Don't tell us we can't. Now you could accept what we're like, acknowledge what we're saying. And then you could tell us what to do without telling us. So it was more of a babe, you know, um, can we like, downsize a little bit or put up in storage some of them and just use what you're using. And eventually, guess what? All the ones that went into storage, I didn't even went back to. So I think a few years ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago, all the shoes I end up getting rid of because they were dry rotted. I didn't use them anyway, but I just wanted to have them. So it's not that he told me I had to throw them away. He figured out cleverly how to make me downsize without telling me I can't. And the moment he learned that secret word of not telling me I can't, his
Hmm.
marriage was peachy clean because all you have to do is talk to me and acknowledge, and then you could share what you think is a better option, and I will acknowledge you. And when you're getting your way without even knowing it, and I was like, oh, you were smart. He was like, yeah. He said, I learned a long time ago. My daddy told me, how to maneuver. Now, I didn't get the maneuverness at the beginning. And I was like, this man really, really. And I was that, if you say no to me, you can forget about it because I'm going to show you, like, no, what do you mean no? I'm bringing my 20 pairs of shoes and what are you going to, it was that type of, and at first I was like, oh my gosh, this man is definitely, you got to learn to meet halfway. So it goes for woman and man. We
Hmm.
have to learn to meet halfway. I couldn't, in one bedroom apartment, we had just got married. I couldn't bring 20 pairs of shoes. All my clothes, I couldn't stuff in one little closet because we had just got married. So we have to start from small. But I could tell you, he surely worked that cleverly. So, guys, little hint, learn to
Amen.
get your way cleverly because us women, we are gullibles. When we're in love, we are very gullible. And as long as you know to say the right things, we are definitely right there. Like, you know. So I don't know how it is on your angle, but from a
Yeah,
woman's perspective, that is a little hint I'm giving the guys that you can get whatever you want as long as you acknowledge us. And sometimes that's the hardest things for guys to learn the secret of acknowledging and considering. And then even if we don't get it till 10 years later, but at least acknowledge and consider it. Just think about it for maybe a minute and you like, you know. So
yeah,
that's one thing, So that's
yeah.
it's a
I've
journey,
I've
guys.
I've learned to diffuse many situations by just being quiet.
Mhm,
Just I don't have to respond, even if I'm right in the situation and I know that I'm right.
mhm,
I'll just be quiet because the
mhm,
moment you open your mouth, if it's something, especially if you're right,
mhm,
it can blow into a whole different situation. And you're like, all right, how should I go about this?
mhm,
Or I'm gonna just be quiet and let you vent until you're
mhm,
done. Are you done?
mhm, uh-huh.
Is that everything? And then she asked me, "Well, what do you think about it?" And I'm like, "Well, you made some great pointers. Those are great things that you spoke about, and hopefully we can move and work to some type of solution in this. But I'm not gonna go and say, yo, this is you got to do this, you got to do this, and you got to do this, because if I do it like that, I'm not gonna get the response that we need to move on.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man, you said
Mhm.
that perfectly. Cause
Perfect.
okay, and tell me, sister, if I'm wrong, right? Um,
Oh, am
some
I? Wait, wait a minute. Let me fix
I'm
my
putting you on
hat.
the
Let
spot.
me let me tilt it up now. I
fix
gotta get
that hat,
gangster here. Go
Nah,
fix
ahead.
that
buddy.
hat.
No, no, I said
All right.
sometimes for some men, from a man's perspective, right? We like to if you have your spouse or your significant other, right?
Mhm,
They have a problem, and they tell you. Some women, not all women, they will tell you they want you to get the answer right now, like today, in a matter of seconds. And you're like, well, if I as a man say, you know what, I'm not sure right now, give me some time, let me, you know what I mean, let me sit down and actually think about it. Because sometimes, you want, as a man, we don't want to give the first thing to come out of our mind. Sometimes it's going to be the wrong thing. So sometimes I feel like for men, we take time to analyze the situation before, not every situation, but sometimes we take time to say, okay, I'd rather take a step back, think about what you said, process it, and this, I can come back with an actual definite answer, and then I could, versus me and you going back and forth. If I say something off the whim of my head and just,
Gonna pay
mess
for it
it up
later.
and pay for it later. Yeah. So sometimes I feel like for some women, some sisters, they have to understand that's men. We take time. Like we're more women.
yeah.
I know y'all can think about 20 different examples of how to get that answer done. Y'all got like the Einstein thing
Monkey
going
time.
on up there. Brothers were very like that. That's we see it right in front of us, and we're like, okay,
We're tactical.
yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
be strategic in it.
Yes.
Like her husband, he was strategic. He's like, I'm not gonna tell her no
Nope.
about the whole clothes and the wardrobe. We just gonna get another space, and we're gonna,
Hmm.
I know what's gonna
Yep.
happen to those clothes because out of mind, out of sight, it's
And we
gone.
forget. It was clever. It was clever.
Yeah, because if he said no, you like, all
Oh,
right,
I
I'll
was.
buy
Oh,
more clothes.
because we would have been. It would have been a tussle. Like what do you mean?
Hmm.
And you're
Yeah.
freshly married. You're not. I must. I know that it would not have been like, okay, because, a woman, especially when you're dealing with a strong woman, it's not that she's trying to be bossy either. It's just that's who she is. And sometimes some men is more laid back, relaxed, and they end up attracting somebody that's a little strong, and they feel like he mentioned, okay, I want to say a question, and she may ask me a question, and the question may be something that I need to think about it. A woman already have like 200 answers to your questions, so her brain thinks faster. She's speed up. If you ask If she asks you something, she already have the answer. She just want to hear what you say. And if your answer is not in line with what she thinks it should be, she may have a little emotion that goes on there. So sometimes it's good to say, acknowledge, you know, what's being said, repeat it, and just ask for a little bit more time so that way you'll be able to better give your response at a later date instead of having her feel like you're dusting her off and you're not
Yeah.
acknowledging.
Yeah.
Another thing, too, from a woman's perspective, in any relationship, the reason why we have trust issues, okay, when it comes to handling certain things, because we're so used to jumping ahead of the gun and
Mm.
dealing with it, that especially if you're marrying someone, like I was single at that time, I was going to finishing college, working, paying my schooling, like, I was very independent at the same time, and so was he. So when I'm used to handling my paying the rent, buying food, taking care of myself, and helping out with my family and everything else, it was hard when you're bringing somebody else in and giving them that position. So, single people, for you guys, make sure that you're taking into consideration. Don't just try to just go and shove it down their throats. You got to give each other time so you can come together, because each of you are already independent mentally, and a woman wants to feel that feels safe. Like if my husband couldn't come with me when he asked to marry, he needed to have a plan, because I had a plan. I had a plan. I had 5 years. I knew where I was going. I knew what I wanted. And at the same time, for a woman, when they're single and they're coming into a relationship, they're looking for a man that they can rest ashore on. So don't don't come at a woman that's independent and feeling that, oh my gosh, she have to submit. You got to think about, what is she submitting to. You have to have a plan so you can sell yourself to her. So when my husband came in, he was already had his stuff together. He was financially in order, in the military. He had a plan. And I said, what's your 5-year plan? He didn't get insulted because he knew the type of woman that I was. I already had like 3 bachelors, my masters, I already had my stuff. I do better by myself. So he had to make sure that he was telling me, listen, I know you could do that, but you can rest assured on this end of what I can offer you. And we must be honest with each other as well. Not everybody is in that position. So if you're not in the position, honesty and humbleness will be the best bet for my single people out there. Just be
Hmm.
honest, because a woman that's independent, and all women is they think 200 steps ahead of what they want in their future. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned, I when I had my son, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have grandkids and I'm gonna have this. Like, you have a plan, and all of a sudden it don't work out that way. Like, oh man, okay, I'm gonna have my son for the rest of my life. His little lineage, his sperm is not gonna go out there and produce because he's my special needs. So all my whole life was like, not like wonk wonk, but a little bit, because you were expecting that. So in a woman, she is looking for to be the queen of her throne, and she want and she's taking care of herself. So if she get with a man, she don't want to be like starting like she was starting from scratch when she was already here. She don't want to go back down here. She at least want to build together, and you guys can go up. So single people that's on here, make sure that you're taking into consideration that a woman is looking for security, and a man is also looking for not only security, but he wants respect. So both of them goes hand in hand. I don't know if that was a nugget for somebody, but if it was, take it, eat the meat and throw the bones away, because both of us, man and woman, we're looking for something. I wanted security. Okay, and he
Yeah.
made sure I had my 5-year plan, where we were doing, what we're going to doing. We were building our empire together. Okay, I like that vision. Let's go. And you plug into the vision, because he's the head. So you plug into the vision. The same thing with the male. He was looking at me like, I want, give me my respect. And you're like, in that moment, you're like, oh, okay, I got to trust him, but I don't know if he can handle all this by himself. I would do better by myself. But anyway, let's see what he got to do. And we give that little opportunity for them to show us that they can have us safely under their arms for a period of
Hmm.
time. And look at here, 24 years, safely secure, you know, with God first and my husband and then my family. And I think it works once you know what she's looking for and once she know what you're looking for, and you all be honest with each other, and you will have a longevity with God in it. That's beautiful. Don't leave
Oh
God
yes.
out. Make sure he's first, and it will be a beautiful relationship. But woman looks security, guy looks respect. And
Oh yes.
sometimes it's harder than said than done on both angles, because not everybody is in that position to be ready, and they've got to be honest with it.
I have a statement with a
Yes,
question attached. Okay.
yes.
And this is in the for like people that are looking for per se marriage one day. On the topic of learning to wait. So sometimes when you're learning to wait, though you have a goal, you want marriage, you can see yourself down the future with a wife or a husband, and you know, maybe sometimes in you yourself, like you were just talking about, we're both independent. The woman is independent and the man is independent. But you know, a man, he does want respect, but he also wants a woman that can be molded as well. Like he can teach her things, and not only that he can teach her, he should also be able to take lessons from her as well. Because it's not just about the man. Just hey, I'm just a teacher. You just sit and listen. A lot of people look at it like that way, but it's not. But and you said something wonderful about um you guys have to find a harmony of a place that you both can meet at on a middle ground. And but when the world is training our society of young people coming up, young adults, to be strictly independent and not relying on others for help, you know and when we're so strong and so independent, we're used to doing things on our own, and never asking for help, and better yet saying that we don't need anybody, but realistically we need help from others. And I think that's the biggest clash between a man and a woman that are seeking husband and wife. The man realizing he needs his wife, and the wife realizing she needs her husband, and both each other seeing where they need each other, and acknowledging that. So like for example, me and my wife says she always says a statement: you may own the house, but what it comes in the home is up to me. Like if how I make the bed, the drapes, whatever, this is my home. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna mess up nothing. You decorate, do everything you want. I'm not touching it. I'll just do the handiwork. If some need to be screwed, light bulbs, chains, fixtures, whatever. Go and cut the lawn, taking out the trash, blah blah. I got it. But I know when it comes into going in the home, the decorating and all those things, the things that I value her, and where I say, like I said, where a husband will know he needs his wife. I say I'm not in all of that. Like, although I'm good with color coordinating and stuff and making clothes, but as far as making the home feel like a home, my wife is that's her strong suit, and that's what I want. I don't want her to to make up the whole house and to feel like I'm playing the husband and the wife. I like that, to both knowing our roles in our marriages, and not necessarily like, oh, you have to do this and you do that. Roles as in we've already put a placement for each other. We've sat, we've talked, we've discussed our strong suits, what she's strong at, what I'm strong at, and we're like, all right, you're in charge of this, you're in charge of that. Let's get it done. But what I was saying is, most in these days, it's very hard because the young adults have been trained um to to just be workers, 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 workers. Every day's work, and it's a hustle to the point where when you do find that one, how does one get into, like, a woman looking for a husband, into that moment of she wants security? But if she wants security, how does she get out of that space? And that's that learning to wait part. How does she get out of the space of that independent, getting up and doing everything on her own, even though she wants a husband, but she might not be there yet to say, okay, I'm ready to, I trust you. I'm gonna take that leap of faith. Let's get married. Let's do it. you know? So what do you think? And for a man, he doesn't just want her respect, but he wants a woman that can be molded, that will listen to his vision, and they both agree, you know, on the path that they're going. So
Mhm.
yeah, what are your thoughts on that, sis? I just wanted to ask that.
Oh, you sure you want to hear my thoughts?
Hey,
Remember, I ain't no yes friend, so
hot
I don't want
sauce,
to burn
Hey,
down
hot
the holes
hot
and
sauce.
nobody.
go ahead,
Okay,
sis.
first of all, if you are dealing with a woman that already on her feet and she is working for herself, got her degrees going for her, you can't expect her to dim herself either to wait for you to increase. You will have to present her with the plan. Either you both work the plan together or and form a family mission plan that you guys can figure out what's going to happen with each other in the near future. I will advise you guys to sit down and write your plan out, even if you're married. Every year you should have a plan for the following year of where you want to go, where you're taking your family. The mission of the family should always be to to increase, figure out, maybe it's family, you get to the point in your relationship where vacations, family vacation comes in handy, you start adding value there. A woman don't want you to stop watering her, because remember, she's the flower and you're the water, and she has to keep growing and expounding, because by nature she wants to keep moving forward. So at the end of the day, if you come to me, example, if I'm single and you're hollering, I want to know what's your plans for the next 5 years. I want to know where you're trying to take me, because I'm good where I'm at by myself. And that's the hardest thing for some men, because they don't know where they're going. And if you don't know where
Mm,
you're going and you're supposed to leave, and your woman is the one that has that go getter thought process, you may end up hindering her because you're not where she's at. And us women, we're always like 5, 6 years mature mentally than guys at the beginning. It turns around probably when the guy hit, like, a certain age where he starts to grow a little bit more and he surpasses. But most of the ideas and stuff always comes from that woman that's always like go getter. So beware, if you're scared of a go getter woman, it's best for you to just pause and shift sail, because she's always want to keep growing. And if you're not giving her nothing to grow, I remember a few years ago, a pastor was
man.
preaching and he said, us women, like you mentioned, Indoor, we're nurturers. If you
Hmm.
give us, if you give us a seed, we're gonna find the the the, the fertile ground for it to keep going, for it to
Yep,
grow. We're gonna give you a tree.
it's gonna
If you
explode.
give us rice, we're gonna bring you a plate of porridge. We're gonna turn that into, let me see, what else is out there? Porridge, peas and rice. We're gonna turn
Hmm.
that rice with butter. We are nurturers. We edify and add to whatever you give us. But if you give us nothing, we have nothing to grow with. And as long as a man can't understand that, then that marriage is stagnant. You got to give her something. If you give her a sperm, she give you a baby. What? If you give her like a seed, she brings the tree. We're nurturers. You cannot stagnate us, because we are naturally built to add value to you. But you got to give us something to work with. So if you don't have a plan, it's going to be a salty road. No, salt is good. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes it can look on the wrong side and it's not as good for you if you don't have nothing to offer. So make sure that you having as a man have something to offer her, because whatever you give her, she's going to duplicate. She's going to increase that. And you guys are going to be moving more forward because she's a natural fertilizer. I don't know if I'm answering your
Oh yeah.
question.
Oh
I
yes.
don't want to
You're
come
answering.
off as harsh to you, but we are
Oh,
looking
this is
that
not harsh. This is good.
security.
This is good
Yes.
food, sis.
Thank you, thank you. We're looking that security, but you got to give us something to work with. I'm going to use myself as an example. With all my degrees, when my husband found me, he was in the military. He was climbing the ladder. I was a marketing specialist at one of the top financial planner in the military, first command back in the day. That they changed the name now, but I was the marketing specialist up there, and my husband was um, a major in the military. He wanted to move on to higher levels, right?
Hmm.
But it came a fork in the road that we had to figure out. I'm going to keep my degree, my position as a wife, or I'm going to love my husband to move up the ladder. Well, the decisions you already knew, probably know how that went, because he had something to offer me to grow. At that moment in time, I chose his career over mine. But guess what? He offered to retire me and pay into my retirement. Like if I was working, my
Hmm.
income of my investment, my 401k never stopped, because he didn't give me nothing back. He's like, you're sacrificing real big, and I'm gonna do this. So I he paid in like if I was working, and I retired, and that's why I'm at 24, going on 24 years later. But he offers something that I didn't just dim my light when I could have go just as equal to him. And I trusted him. And at this point in time, there was no regret. So in the moment in time that I had to choose to give up my career for his, I just decided we're going to just have kids then. And I can be a stay home mom, not because I had to, it's because I wanted to. It was a choice. If you all notice, my relationship is never, you can't do this. It's never that way. He's a
Hmm.
very clever man, and he learned his woman.
He learned.
He learned his woman, and
Yeah.
he will give options. And that was the options. And I said, you win. And then I came back and I said, you knew that's what you wanted in the first place. And he's like, yeah, but I couldn't tell you because you have a problem with you can't. So he learned it, and there it goes. So with your relationship or anybody in a relationship out there, you have to have a plan, guys. You can't
Oh
just go up
yes.
to a woman that is already in her career, that's already mastered the solo position and responsibility alone, to not to tell to take that authority and being able to curve her how you want her when you're not going nowhere. You got to show her what you got. You got, sure, I'm gonna curve you here, I'm gonna curve you over here, but then guess what, we're gonna end up over here. If she can't see where you're curving her to, she may not follow. So sometimes a relationship is always messed up at the beginning because there's the leader is not leading appropriately because he don't know or she don't know what it is that each other needs. I wanted security. Woman wants security. Man want respect. In order to get that respect, you have to show the woman what you're working with so she can produce, because we're naturally we give birth to everything we touch. Everything we touch, we're gonna make it a little bit better, you know. So,
Hmm.
I'm just saying, I don't
Uh,
I hope that helped. Did that help?
oh
I
yeah.
just hope, I don't want
That
to be
that.
harsh or anything, but I gotta be
Oh no,
honest.
it's not harsh at all, sis. And that actually, I think, if you're free on Tuesday, that would be a great discussion that we have. I think I want to call it like Family Matters or something like that.
Oh,
So we can,
perfect.
oh yeah, we can talk about that.
Mhm.
God willing, Sis Nicole will feel better, and she definitely want to be a part of the conversation. So,
Yes,
oh yes,
hopefully.
oh
That's great
yes.
conversations to have. And I think in on the holiness walk, we need to to know that people are human. We're still humans. I mean, yes, we all walking and becoming her and him in Christ, but we still have human things that goes on in each other's life that is great to talk about. So remember, our fruit is not for us. Our fruit is to give to others. We incur the wisdom of in the learning during the learning process. We get the wisdom. We hand out the fruit. So we have to share a little bit more because it's not perfection across the board. You're walking in holiness or everything is perfect. No, that's
Yeah.
lies. It's not. We have everybody has a little issue here and there that if we talk about it, it makes it easier to be able to adjust and to fix because we may be talking right now and somebody in the background probably need to hear what we're talking about, that we're blessing them and we don't know. We're just being
Yeah.
honest to let you know that not just because we're in holiness or we're walking in holiness, meaning that our whole lives is just perfection. It's not, okay? And I just want everybody to know I'm human, okay? And I fall
Yeah.
short every day. There's a short coming in here in this
Amen.
Hogan household.
Same
Okay,
here. Same.
we imperfect, but you know
Amen.
what? It don't take that humbleness to come in and acknowledge that. Listen, I'm here for correction. Anybody have
Yeah.
any better ideas? I have a little issue here. But I know one thing that works in my relationship is those five little sentences. I don't have no problem saying, please forgive me. I love you. I'm sorry. I mean, can
Can
we
you marry?
start over?
Can
I
you
don't
marry
have
me
any
again?
issue with that. That should roll off of married couple and single couples, those
Mhm.
sentences, because when you go to bed at night, I don't want to be saying, oh, I'm in holiness and I'm upset with my partner because they didn't hear what I said or they didn't do what I thought they should have done, or I'm holding a little grudge because I was talking to them and they were on the phone, or the little simple little things that woman and man has that we need to work on. And it's good to acknowledge that, hey, I may have a little problem here. I need a tweak. I've been plucking with the chickens a little bit too long. I need to start finding my tribe and figuring out where the eagles is at. We can't hang around chickens too long, guys. Anytime you start falling off the wagon, if you see yourself upset with somebody for too long, or you see yourself flying off the handle, you're plucking with too much chickens, too much negativity around you, and you need to assert yourself because you're different. You're not on the same walk as everybody else. You need to isolate yourself so you can increase yourself and be available for when God to use you. He can use you and you don't have all that anger inside you. I'm mad at my husband. I'm mad at my wife because so and so. How God can use that when you're bitter, when you have that inside of you? You got to say,
Yeah.
listen, and God know that you didn't mean what you said. The person may not know it, but just say, I'm sorry. The moment you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, they're going to repeat the same thing back at you. And the one with, you're going to know the pride because some of them may not even give it back to you, but they're going to think about it. And guess what? You put the ball in their court. You're good to go. Ready? I'm ready, Lord. Use me tomorrow. Yes. Instead of you holding on and holding on. And when you're plucking with the chickens too long, you start plucking too. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. This chicken thing is very important. I hope y'all are learning these plucking chickens. We need to figure out how to assert ourselves.
Hey, sister, you might
Yeah,
need a shirt and sell
We're
it
gonna
yeah,
get
called
that
"No
plucking chicken
Clucking Chicken."
shirt coming out soon.
yeah. We need to we got to elevate ourselves. This plucking chicken. We don't want to be around these plucking chickens. And if we don't hate them, we gotta love them. They may not be walking in our walk, so we love them from a distance, but we can't hang around them too much. We got to make sure that we assert ourselves because it hinders you too much. It hinders you. Those plucking chickens is no good. If you can't add value, encourage, inspire, if you can't compliment somebody on a daily basis without criticizing, condemning, and complaining, then you need some time. And you need some time in that scriptures where you can read and be like, Lord, help me. Help me. When they come to me, nobody don't want to come to me with no negative. I'm always happy. All my attitude is always right. And anytime they see me not smiling, they're worried. And most of the time, if you see me probably under the weather or something, I still smile. They don't know that inside I'm battling or I'm struggling with something. No, because I would not mess up somebody. I love people too much to go and dump too much stuff, rocks in their plate, because I want them to be good. I want them to be better. I want them to be successful. So if you're a dumper, check yourself. Stop
Check
plucking,
yourself.
please.
Sis,
Check yourself.
Sister Paulette, there's one other side too I wanted to talk on. Um, Woman, not saying that she's gonna,
You putting on your
she's
hat. You get that shit. Sister
not
LB.
saying that a woman is going to be a man's peace, but she
Mhm,
has to be peaceful because when he comes home, he doesn't want to come into chaos,
mhm,
and it's World War III when he gets home, and and I see a lot of guys that time over they rather stay at work or be out of their house or be somewhere else than be in their own home with their wife and their kids, to stay away from their wife, because sometimes when you're dealing with the wrong type of woman, it's not all women. I have to say
mhm.
that, make that clear. It
Clear.
is not all women, but some of them they can be the chickens that need to be plucked and don't even know it. They don't even know it, and he's trying to he's going outside, he's battling the world, whatever negative things, chickens he faced out there. He comes home and he has to pluck more chickens,
Mhm,
and it's like it feels like it's a war on every side. And obviously he has to make sure he has the peace with the Lord. But
mhm,
a lot of people are can be seeking these single people can be seeking relationships, and they're still dealing with chickens that haven't been plucked, and not knowing how to stay in a marriage, because staying married and building that type of relationship is learning to let those negative things go and not let it fester, not bringing up something that happened 20 years ago. And she might bring it up like, remember when you cut me off in the line and you didn't let and you're like, I thought we resolved this. I thought this
mhm.
was gone. We spoke about
So,
this 20 times. And she's like, well, we're going to talk about this now. So
yeah.
what do you think about, and vice versa? Because there are men out there that do the same, which I don't believe a man should be emotional, but he
Uh-huh.
possibly has unplugged chickens and he brings that into his relationship, not knowing, and he's not ready for marriage. So, you think, although they want the goal of marriage, because people think just because they get married, that those unplugged chickens are gonna go away.
Mm-mm,
They might
mm-mm,
actually get even worse, because now you're living with someone, you're staring in their face, and you got unplugged chickens, and now you seeing his unplugged chickens, and it's just chickens everywhere. Chickens
mhm,
everywhere. So,
mhm.
what's your advice for those people that have those negative emotions they have not dealt with? Because not everyone's in holiness, not everyone knows how to bring their things to the Lord and go to the Lord in prayer. That's the last these cracking fingers. That's the last thing that that's the last thing that they deal with. They think about. They rather just go and get married and deal with their problems through marriage, in getting married. But
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm a release. I'm a releaser. Release.
Let me hold on. Let me these crack. Um, that's a great question, Indoor. And it's a
Mhm.
deep question
It's
too.
very deep.
Because that's why it all starts when you looking for marriage, that you're making sure that that you're equally yoked, and you're not unequally yoked when you're looking for your next of kin. If you're on the same page, yes, it may have a little negativity that you're going to start at the beginning, but it's very easy to fix because everybody's on the same page. Then it goes back to the man. Remember, the woman is looking security. So if you at the beginning laid your foundation appropriately, she already know what she's working with. Sometimes in relationship with those bitter mamas is because they're frustrated in the position that you took them out of already. They probably was home with mama, with daddy, living a good life, and then you decide you want to put on the big boy pants. Don't worry, I'm going to get to the girls soon. Hold on, I'm dealing with the boys now. And you want to put on a big pants, and you can't hold your pants up because you have no plan on where the button is.
Mm-hmm.
Am I getting somewhere? Okay, you
Getting
don't
somewhere.
you don't know what next to do, and then you expect her to put on a nice face, and when you have her living in a square box with the bathroom next to the kitchen, and she is not going to be a happy woman. So she gonna pluck on you every day because we want security, we want space, we are looking for for that safety net. And if you not don't have your eggs in the basket correctly, it's going to be chaotic at the home. So that could be one reason that a guy that you're having a whole bunch of plucking to do when you get home because you never set your safety net up appropriately. You jumped in without
Mm-hmm.
being proper prior planning and your performance was low. So that's what your result became. Now, from a woman's perspective, it goes this when depending if she is in that feminism thing where I could do better than you, I can do this, and you're trying to get you show her what she's going to offer before she gets in, and she comes in already with in that authority position because she's not respecting what you showed her on the mission statement. You're going to have some issues there as well, because she don't know where her place is. But I can't
Mm-hmm.
get in my place if you never give me the mission statement. She gonna keep plucking because she's looking for you to give her something to work with. So it goes both ways. Both of you guys may not been the best couple to join because all of you both have a little issues, and you can't give her tomatoes and want her to make a chicken salad out of just tomatoes. It's not the same thing. I don't know if
No,
I'm
you got it.
being
You got
clear
it.
with you.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not equally yoked. That's why you have to get your equal partner. You have to be equally yoked when you're going to marry. That's a big step. That's somebody that you're married to
Oh
for
yes.
life. That
Yes.
is somebody that, you see them like this, and then all of a sudden in the morning, their eyebrows may be gone, their eyelashes gone, everything gone, because they're
Or
just a whole
apostle
bunch
will
of
say,
treatment.
it's the
And
devil out of hell.
I'm just telling you. And then all of a sudden, that woman was pretending because they saw you as somebody that, okay, they were at the end of their line and you're at the end of your line. And you're like, well, I guess all we have is each other. Let's do this. And boom. And then all of a sudden, you wake up a couple weeks or 2 weeks later, and it's a rude awakening because she's not going to just be humble to something if she don't have nothing to be humble to. So get on both sides. I'll advise you guys to communicate. Communication is definitely the key in any relationship. Don't marry and then communicate. You communicate first so that way
Mhm.
you know where you stand. And at the end of the day, you can't tell her that you're going to mold her into how you want her because that's what the Bible says. Yes, you can do that without telling her because you're shooting yourself in the foot. The moment you're telling her you're gonna do what I say, and you giving her the thing, and I'm the man of this house, and she's like, I wish you would. You ain't gonna get that. What you?
In the
That's not gonna work
beginning,
here. And
Adam and Eve.
don't shoot yourself in the foot now. You got to be clever about it. You're going to allow her to do just what God in plan is for you and her relationship, but in God's timing, not you telling it to her. She's going to follow the rules, what God says, but it has to be a, a, a calm and how I want to say it now. It got to be a smooth ride. Okay. Remember, you're looking, she's down, you're up. And if you say you're gonna do what I say, and it gotta go by my rules. Remember, both of you are a couple, you're a partnership. And it's 50-50. She's next to you. When I'm not preaching, but I'm just saying a statement. When Adam and Eve, and Eve handed him that apple, it didn't say she threw it in the back or threw it up front. It says she handed it to him. That means he was next to her. You are completing each other. So she may have a better idea, or he may have a better idea. You guys work it out and complete each other. That's what Endura was talking earlier,
Yeah.
completing each other and working together. But that plucking when you get home is because something you probably need to check yourself as a man to make sure that you did something you did in your past that she's having issues of letting go slowly but surely. And one more thing I want to say from a woman's perspective, when a man do something that was against God's will and she stays with her husband, husbands need to understand that he needs to allow her time to heal. And she's not going to heal on your timing. She's going to heal on her and God's timing, because sometimes, and it goes both ways, man could hurt a woman and a woman could hurt a man back as well. But you can't say, okay, I'm sorry, and you want her to forget. It's not going to happen. So if anybody out there is having to pluck chickens when they come from work because they're trying to do the right thing, just know you're probably not equally yoked to to come to understanding.
Oh
And
yeah.
that is one of the reasons why you're having to pluck chicken, because both of you all are not equally yoked.
You gotta
Either
choose right.
she thinks she's one thing and she's not respecting you because you stepped out or you did something that she was not in agreement on, and you're going to be plucking back and forth because you're on a level. Just an example, sometime, not all the time, because I'm in holiness, my husband is not. Okay.
Hmm.
But it's still respect because he is a good husband, he's a good man. He just not in holiness. I am. And he
Yeah.
respects me. And that's all I ask for. You respect my choices. I'm not going to bother you. And he don't, we don't do nothing extravagance. He's a good husband. He's like my brother. Like, he's a good man. I'm just going to say it like that. Okay. I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about all the extras, but I'm just saying some relationship is not like that. You're in holiness and the other partner is not in holiness, and you're pulling them, wanting them to be apart. No, you just live your life, shine your light, and allow the next person to grow and watch you grow. And eventually they'll join in. That's the secret right there. Because the
Amen.
moment you be saying, like, you need to put on a skirt, or you need to take off those short pants, and you need you're going to cause chaos. You'll be plucking the rest of your life. No, you do
Yeah.
the right thing. And I love the next person to come in God's timing. And you just make sure you grow strong enough, your roots, so that way you're not like a little leaf or a stem that's going to break off and blow with the wind. Ooh, that's another one.
And I want
Yeah.
to add it. I wanted to add on that is
Uh-huh.
as well. Now that, especially for people that are in holiness and they're choosing, if you're in holiness and you have the choice now that you
Mhm,
can choose someone that you can be evenly yoked with, it's better to choose someone that you're evenly yoked with so that you're not having to fight that all that fire. It's like it's different where, a person that you already got married and then during your
mhm.
marriage you found holiness. But
Yes.
now if you're single, you have an advantage above many. Although finding the one in holiness can be the hardest part because not
Mhm,
everyone that say they're holy are in holiness. So knowing that evenly yoked and knowing that, you know, are you truly meeting at God's footsteps? Are y'all truly building on a foundation? Are you truly saying, Lord is your Jesus Christ and Savior? And that, when you build everything on the Lord, everything on his steps, on his path, the walk is much easier that way. It's so much easier that way because guess what, you're no longer problem solving on your own. He's like, all right, I don't agree, you don't agree, yo, let's pray on it, let's go to the Lord about this one. And the fight is much less, you know.
Yeah.
So, being evenly yoked is much deeper than, disagreements and agreements. It's a spiritual yoke,
Mhm.
if you guys are on the same path or not.
Mhm.
So yeah, and a lot of people will take, some people even would rather marry someone that's in the world, because sometimes if you marry a man in holiness, it might be more strict than you're dealing with someone in the world, or vice versa, so you have to be really careful on the partner that you choose, and you have to make sure you love that person and you're willing to wake up every day and look them in the face and say I love you regardless of whatever you're going through. And a lot of people, they get a feeling, they think they're in love, they rush into it, say I do, and then tomorrow's like, you know what, I can't even stand you. Tomorrow I can't even stand you,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Yes.
so
Yes.
if you,
Yes.
if you can, you only got one chance.
Mhm.
You got one shot,
For
and
one.
and you have to wait. And who says who's gonna go first? Because you can't get on your knees and pray and say, "Hey, Lord, let this one go," because they're giving me a heartache. You can't get on your knees and pray for that. So you got one shot. So choose wisely, be very
Mhm.
careful in your choice, and building on the foundation of the Lord, and you won't go
Mhm.
wrong if you build on the Lord. You can't go wrong. There's
Mhm.
no way. you
That's
know
right.
yep.
That's right. Absolutely. I see the brothers and sisters here had some questions, so I'm going to go ahead and read Brother Leo's Fernandez question. He said, would it be easier to focus on the Lord married or single? Do you all want me to go first, or you want to go first in that? Brother Endure and be in holiness? Brother in
Okay.
holiness?
Is it the this question? Would it be easier to focus on the Lord married or single?
Hmm.
Um. Well, I'll start.
Okay.
Well, if you're married, I forgot the scripture where it says that you would have to attend to the things of the world for your wife. It doesn't mean like doing things of vanity and stuff like that, but you'll have to hear your wife out in situations, because obviously you're living in the world. You're here,
Hmm.
so but focusing on the Lord is number one. That should never be. I tell my wife every time. I was like, babe, God is number one. You're number two. If she has a problem that she's number two, that's up to her and God. God is still number one, and I have to say it for me, and I have to make sure I say it for the Lord, to make sure the Lord knows. I'm like, God, I don't put no one above you, you know, because I don't want the God of heaven to deal with me. For what the scripture says, who loves their mother and their father, their sister and their brother more than they love Christ is not fit for the kingdom. So for any single or married person, focusing on the Lord should be your first and foremost, no matter what you do. For a single person, it emphasizes that they are focused on the Lord first, always, because in focusing on the Lord, you know, you're tarrying, you're going to get baptized for the remission of sins, you're tarrying and waiting for the Holy Ghost. There's no telling, if you're praying and or you're hoping that the Lord put a husband or wife in front of you, that He can do that, in an instant, whenever He wants and whenever He feels fit. But while you're focusing on the Lord, so the whole focus is to get into that kingdom, because people in their life, they can come and go, because like the scripture says, this life is but a vapor. And when you focus on the Lord, you're actually adding protection to your family. You're adding protection to your children, to the ones then that's in the world that don't even know God yet, that you're praying and asking the Lord that they come into the truth, that they seeing your focus on the Lord, and then saying, man, I see the Lord's blessing this one, and he walks a certain way, and I respect it. And it's like, I wonder, what are they doing right that I'm doing wrong? So answer to that question, brother, Leo, number one should always be God. And everybody, if you're married, second is your wife. and then you focus on your kids. Not even, and then you honor your mother and your father, so your days may be long, and let the Lord do the rest. All right, that's my answer.
Awesome. Awesome. Brother in holiness, you want to go or you want me to go?
I think it was my brother and Dorf kind of put that pretty, on point. So
So you ditto onto him. Eh?
yeah,
Yeah, ditto.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, perfectly. Well, I'll ditto and then I'll add a little bit. I I think it shouldn't matter. Once you know the structure of who's first and who's second, who's last, um, it shouldn't matter if you're married or single. I mean, the focus is remains the same. If God is your number one priority, if you're married or single, it's not going to it will be a little bit more difficult if you're married, but the same thing if you're single, it can be difficult too because you could be distracted with other things. So honestly, for me, my response would be, no, it shouldn't matter if you're married or single, as long as if you know the structure that God is first, and then your husband, and then the family and everything else, then no importa. It shouldn't matter. You it's the same amount of work. You still got to consume the scriptures. You still have to connect with God. You still have to do the same process, regardless if you're married or single, because God is the priority, married and single. So for me, it shouldn't matter. And it's the same amount of work because I'm married and I still have to get up at 3:30 in the morning to put God first. I still have to do my family. I got to make sure that I have my family taken care of. I got to clean the house, do my same process. And if I was single, it was the same thing. The difference was I wouldn't have a family, but I still would have to take care of my household, go to work, again, and probably another job, go to work. So your focus, you just keep incrementing it or replacing it with something else if you're single. If you're married, then your focus is family. If you don't have family, then you probably implementing extra jobs or extra activities. So you're still the same busy. So it shouldn't
Oh,
matter.
yeah.
That would be my perspective. I think it's
That,
the same,
that,
married or
that was
single.
wonderfully put, sister, Paulette.
Hmm.
You just said something that I didn't really think about because you're right though. Because even when you're single, you might not have a family and those type of responsibilities, but you're just putting that energy elsewhere.
Replace. Hmm.
Yeah, you're just replacing it with other things. You might help out your parents a little bit more,
Hmm.
or like you said, pick up an extra job or whatever, or But when you have a family, you still have
Hmm.
to implement those same responsibilities of keeping that family and maintaining it. But God, always, you still
Hmm.
have to do the same thing. Continue to stay steadfast in the truth and keep on worshiping, praising God, and do it the same way. Whether you're married or single, it's the same. You're right. I definitely appreciated that input. That's very true.
Okay. So that's awesome. Sister Georgina, I saw she said, I'm not familiar with your five C's, only my six P's. Oh, let's see. Oh, I even forgot one of my five. Let me see if I remember them. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. It was my fault. Can we start over?
Mm.
That's the five right there. Okay. Oh, my
So she
goodness.
got
I need to check them down because I've been forgetting them myself.
it right.
I love you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Please forgive me. It was my fault. Can we start over? That's the five sentence, guys, for you single guys and you married guys and girls out there. Don't go to bed with a bitter spirit. Don't do it. You just save those five things. Even actually say one of them. Start with one because I know you're still angry or upset. Just start with one of them. Just say, I'm sorry. And then you could add the rest afterwards, but just get something off so you can start rolling the boat. Start rolling the boat. But that's the five, Flemings. Flemings, check it down because I'm going to forget. I'm getting a little old now. I can't retain. I read those books so long ago. Okay.
But she said she had six P's.
It's the six P's is proper prior planning, prevents
Prevents
poor
poor
performance.
performance.
That's the 6 P's, guys. Up. Now, listen, guys, this one is for you. This one is for the guys, especially. Okay? Because you all got to bring a plan to the girl. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance. Once you memorize that, you be good to go. Married or single. Then, once you're married or single and you're having scenarios where that little bitter Debbie starts stepping in and you feeling a little certain way and you're not speaking or you're holding malice or you're just having a moment, throwing tantrums, you got to learn the 5 sentences. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. It was my fault. And then you always want to say, can we start over? Now, sometimes you may not get the can we start over because you probably did it so much time, the person got tired of it. But you always want to make sure that you say those 5 things. And sometimes it just can say one at a time, but that helps with a relationship. So there we go. Let me go through these a little bit more, brothers. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Sister Nicole, next time you're going to jump on here with us because I know you have a lot to say and I would love to hear your perspective. Okay. Let's see. It's not always easy to love when a man's been through trauma with the last woman because some men tend to reject love. Hold on. This is good. Look, she's dropping some nuggets on us. Sister Nicole said, it's not always easy to love when a man's been through trauma with the last woman because some men tend to reject love, class and decency from the real woman that means him well.
Mm.
Yes, that's
that's
deep.
that's deep.
See, you should have come on here, Sister Nicole, and blast us with it. But yeah, it's not easy. But at the end of the day, for that question, or my little one too that I'll put on to that is in every relationship you have to start over from scratch. You can't come into a relationship or start a new relationship talking. Well, I'm not doing that because the last person that I was with, they did this to me. So you're puckering out and you're like, I gotta protect myself. And no, no, no. You're doing injustice to the real person that basically means well for you, like Sister Nicole state. So
Yeah.
honestly, whatever relationship that you've been in the past, that should be the past. You should just strike a match, burn it up, move on. And if you feel like you are mentally in a bad position, that you're wanting to get out there in that dating world, or get out there with another woman, but you want to be extra cautious and be blaming her for everything your last ex did, maybe you need some mental help and talk to a therapist, or get over yourself, build yourself strong enough in order to start a new relationship or a new family, because you'll
Need
drag
Jesus.
all that. You'll drag all
You funny, funny,
You
bro.
need Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
You need to work on you first before you can talk about couple. Like,
Oh yeah,
work on you.
I agree
Work
with
on you.
because like,
Anything you all want to add to that?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that, sister. Because I mean, everybody's been. I mean, if you're not married and you're single, everyone knows what it was when you were in a bad relationships or relationships in the past. And I think there's nothing worse than if you trying to go into a new relationship with somebody, and that person is like playing cleanup, and
Hmm.
they're
Hmm.
continuously trying to clean up what maybe 3 or 4 relationships would happen then in the back in the past. And I actually think that would be more of a hindrance for a person looking towards marriage, because if you don't actually get fully healed before you even step into something new, those problems will occur. You can't expect that when you get married because that they will leave, because not every, like Sister Nicole said, that damage, sometimes that person won't accept that love. You can be doing everything right, doing the right way, giving them that love, doing what you're supposed to do, but they reject it because of certain pains and triggers that trigger them over, Tom, Susie, whoever it may be. And especially, it none worse than that person calling you that last person's name. You don't want to be that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't want to be that person, especially from a man. No man want to hear no next man's name. I tell you that. You might not say nothing then, but hey, but you have to make sure before you even engage in, like, as bad as you would want a relationship.
Mhm.
Don't go into something new and you haven't fully healed, because that's just asking for tragedy to happen.
Yeah. And I was saying before I got married to my wife,
Mhm.
when I was looking for a wife, when I was speaking to, that was one thing I said I would never get with a woman that had something bad to say about her ex when she was dealing with me. So if
Mhm.
she has trauma from the past and she's just talking about how bad her ex was, my ex did this, my ex did that, I'm like, well, I don't hear no accountability of what you did. You're just telling me all the bad things that he did. That was a red flag for me, because if you can't tell me anything about you and how you could have possibly changed the situation, because it takes two to tango, you know. So when that's why I would advise single people, if they're looking for someone, pay attention when someone always has their ex in their mouth. You know, like, yeah, my ex was a horrible. There was a dog. You know, it's like, it was the worst. I was an angel. I did everything right. I'm like,
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know about that, because it takes two to tango, and in order for any healthy person, it doesn't matter. Like those steps that you said, it's easier to say that I'm sorry. You know, I apologize. What could I have done better to make the situation better, so that we can move forward. There must be accountability in the past for your problems and your mistakes that you've made, so that I can know that you have evolved from where you used to be, and you're not the same person anymore. And yes, that person probably did some things that was messed up and damaging, and maybe you haven't healed from it. But if you're living in the past, we can never build a future together and move forward, because you're still thinking about what that person did, so,
Yes.
and you'll bring that into your relationship when you're dealing with the new person, and they'll be having to deal with everything that other person did to you in the past. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that. Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. Anything you want to add, brother?
Oh no, I think, hey, that was wonderfully put.
Yeah, get out
Perfect.
your
Perfect.
past. Oh
That's
yes.
right. Leave the past alone. Leave the past alone. I'm trying to go through these, see if we have any more messages. I'm so behind. I'm at 2:30 and we're at, oh, I have 30 minutes behind. Let me run up real quick.
Run through
Filter.
it.
Okay, we are episode Endure, brother. I saw Sister Nicole Barkas mention something in these chats, and I'm looking for it. I think she when we were talking about building and having a plan, but I'm looking for it. I lost it. Oh, I don't know where it was. Um, Hold on, let's see if I find. Nicole said something
I don't
that
know if
I
you're.
wanted to expound in.
Let me see if
Oh,
I
okay,
see.
there it is. She
Okay.
says, Paulette, some couple marries with nothing, but they come up with something. Um, I want to expound on that because yes, if you're young and say you're just starting life and you have time, of course, you're going to start from scratch and you will build together. But if you already started your life and your spouse has, and your other half, everybody started their life and you're looking for company to be with for the rest of your life, sometimes starting from the beginning can be a little hard for some people. So, most people when they're a certain age in their lives, they already have something so they can merge together and then they could create a little bit more and they can build. But it's hard when you come in from nothing and he has nothing, you have nothing, and you old and ready to die, and you trying to build from scratch. I got to keep it candid, sis. That works if you're young and you're all whippersnapper. You're like, yeah, we could build. But if I'm nearly ready to die and you're nearly ready to die and you talking about let's start from scratch, I may have to reconsider. I'm sorry. I mean, holiness or not holiness, that's a lot of work to build from scratch when you're halfway in the grave. Like it takes a lot of energy, because if you come to me and you're halfway in the grave, you should already have something to offer to and contribute, so that that way we can have something to continue building. But it's sad when he's on zero and she's on zero and you all are halfway in the grave and you're trying to, let's start from scratch. Not for me. Not for me. I
Yeah.
need to start with somebody that's going somewhere, or at least have a plan. And we only have another, couple little years before we go out. So,
Yeah.
it's
I,
hard. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to lie to you. But for me, I, I'm too old to start from scratch. I want to start knowing that I'm already walking on a road and we're walking together, and we're halfway there somewhere in the ocean, in the forest. But starting from scratch at an older age and you don't have nothing and they don't know, they don't have a plan, girl, boy, don't do it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Nope. Stay
I,
single.
I would
Right.
say,
Don't do it. That's my advice. Now you guys can expound. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna look at
oh
me. I'm
yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
All right. I will say this. Holiness, our apostle, he always promotes us, especially men and women, focusing on their education, especially young, getting their things together, and before they plan on having marriage and speaking those things and etc. But there might be places in life where maybe that man might not have everything together the way that the woman wants it to be, and they that she might still in her heart feel like she's not compromising, and that they both can come up together and build where he's at and where she's at currently. So like yes, although that is that it's preferable that both of you when you're young, pursue your education, get your things together in life first before you even try to come together, so that there's the burden not to call it a burden, but realistically you're going to get children, you're going to get kids. you know One person might be out of work, possible most likely it will be your wife, since she's going to have to be out for 9 months at a time. She's going to have to go through the healing process, which might take another 3 months to 6 months till she feels like she's herself again. So she's going to be out for a while if she's going to go back to work. Or if you don't want her to go to work, that man is going to have to be financially stable to take care of her and the family. So that's why Apostle advised, when you're young, work on that. But there are some people that maybe they both don't want kids, or they're the old age and they don't want kids, and they might be at two different places where they both feel like, we're both walking our path with the Lord. He might not be where he I want him to be, and she might not be where I want her to be, but I love this person, and let's build and make life together. So I would say, just knowing that's what you want, and as long as you're not making a know that you're not making a foolish decision, and it's the trust that you have with one another. That's what really matters the most, because these days, yes, security is a big thing, especially in these times. But I think a lot of people really focus on the finances, and they stop looking at the building of, like, mom and dad possibly both being home to raise children and stuff. It's not just about mom being home. What about dad being home and being able to correct the kids and stuff like that? So, a lot of people, sometimes it's all about the finance, although that's a big piece, I will say, yes, and being evenly yoked, but it's not the all. I don't feel like it's the all say. It's where you're at, and does this man have a vision? Does she have a vision? Can we build together? Um, can we move forward in the Lord together? Can we pray together? Can we fast together? Those are big things to look at as well, because although you might be financially stable, you will probably have no spiritual growth. You'll probably be stagnant, in that relationship and have nowhere to go. And like Sis Paulette said, coming to those terms at midway in your life and you're trying to figure something out and you're like, let's start fresh and new. That can be a very difficult thing, especially if we're already we're already halfway through life. So, but that's my piece on that.
Excellent,
Oh
excellent.
yeah.
I got to clap for that. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Brother,
Thank you,
in
sis.
holiness, you have any you want to add on to what he said? I mean, that was really good. I hope this is helping you guys that's in the chats or anybody that come in after and listening in, because these some great nuggets coming from marriage and single perspective, in regards to waiting well,
Hmm.
and I mean, I'm loving this right now. If you all have any more questions while our brothers is up here, before brother in holiness give his thoughts on that comment, go ahead and put them in the box below. Otherwise, we're just going to follow and let brother share his portion, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Wrap it
Go ahead,
up, I
brother
say.
holiness.
Oh yes. I definitely have to say, like, maybe I could give an example too. Like, I understand it's definitely a vision is extremely important. I just have to give, like, even like my mom and my dad. I've seen them come up from like nothing. You know what I mean? My mom and my father, my dad, he was always ambitious. You understand? My mom extremely ambitious. She don't, even now that she's older. My mom don't like to sit down for nothing. Like, I gotta tell her, Mom, don't take off of work. Don't worry, I got you. She like, nah. She don't like to sit down. Like, Mom, get a hobby. But she's very ambitious. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying is in, like, I do believe it's definitely a vision, because two people can still come together as long as it works for them in one build, because no matter what you do in marriage, or it's going to be sacrifice no matter what. So,
Mhm.
even if it's two people that weren't established, you got to be like, she has to say, well, you know what, I might just want to go back to get this real quick. We could have a business together, and you take that step first, and then he's like, all right, you're done that. I'm going to go take this step next. And they continuously keep building and laying on that foundation that was built from before, and get to a place of wealth. But definitely, that's why I agree with you, Sister Paula. Like, that vision has to be there, and they both have to be walking, and growing in the same place. One can't be going one place and the other person going the other place. It will be hard for, especially like you saying, for a woman, if she don't, even if a man tells her this is his vision, this is where I want to go, she has to see herself in that. If she doesn't see herself in that, regardless of whether she accepts it or not, then that's just what it is. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just what it is for her. So,
Yeah.
like, even like you said, like, I can see, like, if you meet a brother and he's in his 30s, and I'm not talking about any brother now, because everybody has everything, but if he's in his 30s,
Hey,
he don't gotta.
we just throwing it out there,
Yeah.
brother.
We
Throwing it
throwing it
out.
We
out.
just talking, okay? We're
We
not
talking.
pointing nothing at nobody. All right, go
Right.
ahead.
We just tossing.
We just talking. If the man ain't held a job for more than 5, 6 years, hey, nah. If he's not trying, he doesn't have a career. That you see him being been stable in a career for more than a certain amount of time. Of course, no. He's jumping from job to job. He hasn't held something for a year. Or he's in. There's nothing wrong with a man having jobs, but, like, I'm talking about consistency in something where he's going somewhere, like, you know what I mean. So if you could be a man that's saying he picks up a job as a construction worker, he might be he might be going to school for a plumber, but he's had years of experience, and he's been building up his stuff with a business over time. You know what I mean? So he has to be doing something to get to a certain place. And once he tells you what that is and where he's going, like you said, the 5 year, where do you see yourself in 5 years? If you don't see yourself in that 5 years, it's okay. But
Yeah.
let him have that, so to give you, so you can feel that security, and you can know, okay, you know what, this is where he's going, this is what he's doing, like you check those things to check off your boxes as a woman, like, like you're saying, sister, like all those different things, like he has to think about, like, communicate what he wants, even if you are established with your own career as a woman, there's nothing wrong with that. But no matter what you do, even if it's both of you established, you still have to sacrifice,
Yeah.
regardless. Some
Yeah.
sacrifice always has to be given, but you can still put it together and create something better than what you have. But you
Amen.
gotta
And
say,
I'll add one more nugget on that. This is why the spiritual is stronger than what's in the physical, because you guys can plan all you want, have everything put together, and the Lord come through, and you don't know what He's doing, but He might destroy what you think is fit for you to be built. Like, I can give an example. My dad, he was always the breadwinner all the time. You know,
Mhm.
masters in nursing. He's gone very far in his education, but
Mhm.
that came to abrupt stop one day when he had a
Mhm.
stroke. He had multiple strokes, so he
Oh.
no longer could go to work. He can no longer drive a car. He can no longer do so many things that he was doing when he went from being independent to now he's dependent on
Mm.
his wife. Not all, not all women, and that's why, I love my mother. Not all
Mhm.
women can deal with such a situation, going from depending on the man is doing everything, he's planning the vision, he's putting all those things together, and to all of that just stopping in within a day, and that just come to a
Wow.
stop. So you never know what situations the Lord might put you through, and
Mhm.
you will have to lean on each other.
Mhm.
And that's why a vision together is more important than success and all the money in the world, because
Mhm.
when you have a vision that's together, you can
Mhm.
you said it a while ago. What is it? I'm gonna play this video back and I'm gonna get those steps. But prevention, prevention.
Prevent. Yeah.
Okay, so having those prevention plan, you have to have those
Prevent poor
prevention
performance. Mhm.
for the poor performances that's going to happen in the future. And you might not want that for your family. You might not plan that, but you don't know what the Lord has in store for you in the future. And my father pushed my mom to go back to school, where she went and got her RN, and
Mhm.
she took over the finances, and
Mhm.
she's doing making very good money now, and they're able to live and build together still, and
Yeah.
still going forward with a plan while he's
Mhm.
healing, during his healing process.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
So
oh
so
yeah,
that's why I say yes, having all of that, and the man having the finances, but sometimes you might come to a situation where you might become vulnerable, and the Lord might sit you down for a moment
Mhm.
in time,
Mhm.
and you have to be able to trust the vision, trust the plan, trust
Mhm.
in God, and just
Mhm.
let it be, and let the Lord do the rest. So both people need to be equally yoked and
Yeah.
be able to trust one another in the vision that's made, that if anything happens, the family is still afloat, the family is still good, the family is taken care of.
Mhm.
And yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to say this too. Even as the man's part too, like my dad, you know,
Mhm.
for father, wonderful father figure. Um, he put a lot of things in place before,
Yeah.
when he wasn't sick.
That's right.
He
Yep.
put a,
That's how it is.
he had a lot of plans, even though some of the plans got put back. But
Mhm.
he was planning. There were a lot of things that he put in place that my mom was able to stay afloat as long as she could, and still things that are still set in place today that are still building because of the times that when he was able to do what he had to do, he put those things in place and left that, like you
Mhm.
said, security. as a
Yep.
man.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So she's able
Mhm.
now, even though she might be taking up that mantle to where she's working and he's not working, the vision is still the same place, and they're still building for the same things, and it's continuing to go still, and and that's why it is very important for a man also to still have a vision and let his wife know what his plans are, what their plans are, what do they want,
Mhm.
what is our goal at the end of this time, like what is where we're going to retire, are we going to build a house,
Mhm.
what are we going to leave for the kids. Set that in motion
Mhm.
from when you're young. Don't do it when you get old and you're like, oh man,
Yeah,
now I
and
gotta
ready to die.
ready
Yeah,
to
I'm
die.
ready to die.
Nah, don't do that. Set it in motion when you're young. So when you get older, even tell your children what you're doing as well when they're young,
Mhm.
because you don't want, like, I did notice that with my dad. If my mom wasn't around, if my
Mhm.
dad wasn't saying certain things to us as children, we would have never been able to say, "Hey, mom, remember dad said this? He said to do
Mhm.
he said to do this."
Yeah.
What we didn't remember at the time. So
Mhm.
still got to tell your kids so they know, like, okay, if they're gonna take this over, this is what
Mhm.
you do, and then that's the
Mhm.
power in communication in marriage and with your
A
family
vision.
do and having that
Yeah,
vision.
you gotta have the vision.
Oh yeah.
Amen.
Yes, that's awesome. Good for you. Look at you guys sharing. I see Sister Nicole is having a kick out of my I just
Ready to
had to make
die.
it real because most people just think they're going to stay around forever. And like, they could be 60 and be thinking they're it. No, you halfway over there. So, what's going on? So I had to put it there. So she's having a blast on her laughing with me.
Yeah.
Um,
Get some life
you
insurance.
yeah, you got a house. Exactly. Get proper prior planning prevents poor performance. So
Right.
at the end of the day, if you're looking for a spouse, like one more thing before I leave, and wrap this thing up for you guys. When my husband um came and asked for my hand, like I say, when that plan came, you know, and there were certain things that I was looking for on the checklist, like, are you independent? Where am I gonna go when you take me from my parents' house? I'm already living like a queen. What's the deal? Like I needed to check off certain things. You can't come and say you're a man and you want to move me in with his mama. You like,
Oh
hello,
Oh,
no.
oh no.
hello,
Mother-in-laws? That ain't it.
he- hello. Wait,
That's
let
a
me
big
finish.
Mm-mm.
Hello.
that's a big
It
sliding
was
scale.
like, no, we're not going to work on that heading because when you say you're a man and you're coming to propose to me or any woman in general, you got to have a plan. You got to have a place. And my grandmother always said, watch for the red flag. If you see a man of a certain age, it's talking about he want to move you in with mama or his sister, just watch out. Like, when you come in to marry somebody, you want to make sure that you have a place to put them. You want to make sure that you have your eggs in your basket, otherwise you ain't ready yet. Okay? You can't go and roll up. And I'm from an island. Now I don't know about you guys are from an island too.
Yeah, yeah,
Jamaica, eh?
Oh
yeah,
So
yes.
I
yeah.
don't know about
Yeah.
your Jamaica situation, but I know my island and mostly Latinos and Hawaiians too. They have that tendency that there's a big hoopty where you have like three, four families in one house.
One big family. No
I'm
way.
telling you that one big family may not work
Two
because
mama hens can't be in one place.
exactly two mama hands and I'm the king, the queen in my little castle now, and mama
Mm-hmm.
may come in and want to be the queen too, and both of
Uh-huh.
us ain't sitting on the throne. And then you put the man in a position where he got to
You
decide,
gotta
like,
choose.
you
Yep.
you want the good or you want your mama, like, you gotta
You
make,
gotta
there's no
choose.
sense of putting your son or your daughter in a position where you have to eventually choose. So it's best to proper prior planning prevents poor performance, even if it's a little square box that the bathroom is next to the kitchen, but you and her can say this is our little happy, humble home, and you can grow from there. but don't ever think you're gonna move me in with a sister, a uncle, and a I'm from an
Mhm.
island, but I ain't like I'm from that island. I
Uh-huh.
like distance. Now we live. My family, we are very family oriented. I'm a very family oriented person, but it's fine when they say, "Hey, girl, I'm coming from Illinois and we're coming on vacation a year in advance." Like, I'm in Hawaii. We love each other, but everybody is in their own space. Nobody is hovering over each other. And if we even in Illinois, where my brother and my sister's at, they're like 20, 30 minutes away from each other. Nobody rolling up on you and talking about, hey, I'm here at the door. Like, no, we respect each other.
Right?
And it's good to draw boundaries from a young, that's the next thing. Even
Bound.
as husband and wives, we have
Boundaries.
to learn to draw boundaries, that things that you're going to accept and things that you're definitely not going to accept. And that for me was one of my pet peeves. What do you call it? Pet peeves. Help me
Yeah,
out there, Nicole. Pet
yeah, your
peeves
pet
or pet
Yeah, pet
whatever.
peeves. Yeah,
peeve.
you're
Yeah,
right.
I feel like that was a red flag. My grandmother made sure she give me that before she left this earth, and she say, "Be very cautious because that means he's not showing me that he can be independent. I'm looking
You
for security. I'm not looking for a mama boy.
you
I'm not looking
you,
for a mama girl or somebody that's
you
always need to be under their mother breast and they're
Well,
like 50 years old."
my
Mama
Yeah,
said
mama
you ain't.
said it's like you spread your bed and you have a
and you
certain
lie in it. That's right.
you no you spread your bed in the morning and you know you left a certain type of spread on there, which
Hmm.
colors it was, and you
Hmm.
living at your house, and then the mama come and change the blankets that you spread, and you're like, why who gave her permission to come in my
Hmm.
room and spread these blankets? There's gonna be a fight up in
Hmm.
there.
Now
So
that's
Yeah,
when the chickens start to cluck.
yeah.
that's
And,
going
and that happens. That
yeah.
happens. So
Happen.
don't ever put your sorry.
Sorry, no, no, sorry. No, I was agreeing with you, sister. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So no, don't ever put your wife nor your mother in a position that you're gonna lose, because you gotta chill. You're the loser in the whole thing because you
Oh
love your
yeah,
mama, but then you love your wife. So the only one that's gonna lose is you. So
Yeah.
don't set yourself up to fail. So make sure if you're gonna put her in a box with two windows and the toilet next to the kitchen, but it's you guys' little safe space, and mama is in her little safe space and sister is in their safe space, but you all still family tight, family together, but apart. If you understand what I'm saying, I think
Yeah.
that's a plus I wanted to hit on before we end this topic, because I think that a lot of time, we end up marrying or getting together with irresponsible, either woman or men, and that's why most of the time it don't work, because they don't know how to take responsibility.
Boundaries. Boundaries
Yep,
are
and there's no
so
boundaries.
important.
Yep.
yep.
It's like the number one thing in a relationship, in a marriage. You bring your mama into it, you bring your friends into your
Mhm.
whole
Hmm.
everything. Anybody that
Yeah.
has a say, you bring it into it. To the
Hmm.
point where you guys aren't hearing each other. There's no transparency because you're walking on eggshells with each other because you're afraid what the other person outside is going to say. But that's a big. Um, I don't know if you said you were going to go live on Tuesday. Um,
Um, it's up to. I mean, I normally do my lives on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. But if you
hmm
if you guys want to go, I mean, the thing is, it's a little bit of us with a lot of different channels, and I feel like
hmm
if no sense of all of us going live. If we
At
could
the
pick a
same
time and stay in the
Yeah,
box, it would be
yeah,
great. Then everybody can enjoy one holiness live that's on at a time instead of four people going live all at once, and it just
yeah.
dims the message. So if you want to go live, then I don't have to go live. I could just plug
No,
into
no,
your live.
no. I remember we said we were going to. I wanted to do a collaboration, like more
Yeah,
of both of us doing it. Um,
absolutely. I don't know how
um,
to set that up on. I don't. You have to send me the link and stuff to plug in. Like I don't know on
Okay.
StreamYard how to make sure that both of our streams are running at the same time. I don't know how to do all of that. But if
Okay.
you know how to do it, you just let me know. And of course, we could do that. That way, I get my live out, and my little
Yes.
audience will
Yes.
plug in, and you get your live out, and we both having lives out on our platforms. I think that will
Yes.
definitely help, and we don't
Be
have
a
to
plus
stress. And we
plus.
talk about a topic, that's fine. I don't have no
Okay.
issues with anybody that wants to collab. I was gonna do one today with Sister EFP, but I think that we're gonna leave the schedule that for tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. EFP tomorrow or Wednesday,
Okay.
whichever day, one of those days we'll do it. So if Tuesday is your day that you want to go live,
Yep.
and
Tuesday.
that's fine. We're gonna grow together, and we're gonna have tough topics, tough conversations. That being in holiness is not easy, and we all are going through. We are not perfect, but we're growing, and we're growing together, and we're learning from each other. That's the most important too.
Okay.
So Sister Shelley said that I was signed into your channel earlier, but I don't think you ever came on. So what happened, Sister Shelley? I was going on at 11:30, and I had to switch the time because Brother TNT was on, and Brother Tony Harvin. So it didn't make much sense for me to go on, and then everybody is just doing too much at the same time. So I didn't want to take away from nobody's topic because both of them had their good topics, and I was like, I'll just wait until somebody comes off, then I'll go on. So if you were on at around 11:30, yes, I was supposed to come on, but we had two brothers on already. So that way I moved my time for 12:30 instead. So I'm sorry if you were waiting and didn't get the update, but I'm glad that you're here. So welcome, Sister Shelley. Sorry about that. Um, let's see if we see any. You guys have anything else you all wanted to say?
And
Okay.
I could definitely say like these topics are wonderful, and even with these holiness platforms, like having these perspectives given from a holiness output where people can hear, you know what I mean? It's wonderful. That's why I do love, the brothers and sisters giving their input and also sharing it out here to the world, being the light of this earth, just like the scriptures.
Mhm.
So, oh yeah, just keep up.
Yeah.
I love your channel.
Oh,
Keep up the
thank you
great
so
work.
much.
Oh yes.
Thank you, brother. To God be all the glory. Because I tell you, y'all don't know in the back, I be pulling teeth. I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then all of a sudden I turn on and poof, it just happened. But
It go away immediately, right?
yeah, I always have that little like nervousness. Oh my gosh, what if and then all of a sudden the little thing in the back of me says, just be you, Paulette. You can't go wrong. Just be you. So when you all see
Amen.
me, this is me. This is it. This
This
is
Oh
is
yeah.
it.
her. This is her. Let me see. The only third person supposed, Sister Dawn said, the only third person that's supposed to be in a relationship is God. That's
Amen.
right. That's
Man,
Well,
right. So Shelly's
nobody
house greetings.
up in there.
Got you, and I love you. Okay, Sister Shelly, love you too. Love all of you guys. Well,
oh
guys, if
yes.
you all want to give any last remarks before we leave, I know we've been on now for 3 hours. I always say we only going to do 30 minutes. Oh, that never happens,
Wow.
so I don't even worry about it anymore. So
um.
if you all have last remarks, just go ahead, give your last remarks, and then I'm going to just close out and say my last one.
Okay. Last remarks. Peace and blessings. Wonderful topic. Once again. I'll just say, stay with the Lord. Let the Lord continue to work with you and deal with you. Learning to wait, like Elijah had to learn to wait. It would be good to just having patience. It's a virtue that should be practiced. You're not just gonna get up and boom, one day you're just patient. So it takes time. Don't beat yourself up because we all have to learn. To be patient with each other, be patient with one another. You know, the only time I'm not patient when it comes to Bible, I'm gonna hit somebody with, like Brother Ham. I'm gonna hit somebody with Bible if they coming out. My ears start tingling. And I'm like, all right, and then you didn't say something you said wasn't right, but that's out of love, you know. So, but I'm looking forward to speaking with you guys again, God willing. Says Paulette. Tuesday, I'm gonna figure out how to do the ghost, because that's what they call it, like ghost streaming, where two people from different channels can get on at the same time. Because I think I seen um Tazaria or Captain T. Yeah, that's what we used to call him. Captain T and Brother Harvin did it at the same time. So I know it's possible. I'm gonna look into it, and Lord willing, on Tuesday we can do our live, and we'll set up a time, and we can have a good discussion. But I definitely see there's a big issue because everybody has these platforms now, and it's like a clash for who's going live, and it can be very rough trying to figure out a space that you are in the streaming community. But I love this channel, and I pray that the good Lord continues to increase it, and the people to continue to be edified and get some good information, and keep coming back if you want some good content. You want
Thank
some to learn
you.
how to make some juicing. You want to see a nice cave in Hawaii, and I don't know how you got all those steps out. Says I'm like it's inspiring to us to go, us men, go get our steps out of it. It's like if sis can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, yeah, you
But
can do it.
oh yeah, but God bless, and I love you all. Peace be.
Thank you, Brother Endor. Brother in
Um,
Holiness.
I want to say, all praises to our Lord Jesus Christ. I thank you, Sister Paulette, for allowing us on. It was wonderful just having this conversation. You're always a pleasant sister. Just to talk to you, you brighten up
Thank
the whole
you.
atmosphere. I thank you for wonderful topics, wonderful conversation, health, wellness, all these things. And these topics are needed for us to speak on, and even for the brothers too. I mean, we love coming on the sisters channels as well, and getting what we need too. Like, when we're not over there talking Bible with the others, we still got to come over here and get some encouragement, get some love, and get our bodies right too with that health tip. But continue everyone to stay steadfast, and I'm gonna continue to keep praying for you, and you keep praying for me. All right, sister. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming up on the panel and for those that chimed in. Hi, Sister Toyland. I've noticed that you came in. I know you're going to catch up on the rerun if you missed a little bit. But I just want to say thank you guys. This was a great topic. Honestly, I was not aware that it was going to run this far, so I apologize if it's a little bit long. But there was great nuggets that was in there. I love each and every one of you guys. If you have any extra questions or concerns, please put it back in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell so that you'll be notified every time I come on. I come on here on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday. I'll definitely looking forward for a live. And in between the week, I'm posting or sharing a short, or sometimes I just pop up and do a live. Listen, I'm just rolling with the flow, okay? We just don't know what you're gonna get over here in Life with Paulette. But thanks for coming in, guys. I'll see you all next time on Tuesday. Before I leave, I want to let you all know on Tuesday, Brother Endor is going to go live. I'm not sure of the time yet. He's going to get back to me. So take an eye to look out there. Tomorrow, Sister EFP is going to go live. I'll go over there and support her channel. If you have not yet support Sister EFP, go on her channel and subscribe and hit the notification as well. You have Brother Endor, his and the twins, Holiness Twins, go over there and share their channel. I know if Sister Flemings is in here, she probably can copy and paste all of the brothers and sisters that you guys can go and follow. And Sister Shelly has her channel. We have Brother Tony Harvin. We have TNT. He has his channel. We have Mr. Jeremy and Mr. Ham. So go over there, follow their channels. They come on different time zones. They come on, you know, probably a little later during the week. Some of them come on every day. So just follow everybody, show some love over there. And I really will hope that our brothers and sisters can figure out a time where we're not all on lives. We could just, give each other a little slot so that way everybody can enjoy each other's message without going back and forth, on everybody else's channel and we miss something. You never know what you're going to hear on the channels then, but it's good to have them on in little slots. It would be nice if we can figure out a routine. But if not, we're gonna figure it out together, right? Well, anyway, I love you guys. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, deuces.